Alarming global headlines about monsters and catastrophic events flash across news screens, sparking fear and confusion. Outside the school entrance, students gather while one complains that the trending news is just exaggerated hype, comparing it to past zombie rumors. The crowd's attention shifts to the arrival of the popular girl, Shui Qingyi. Students gossip about her breakup with her boyfriend, with one claiming she was just settling for him, as she had been accepted into a top university while he failed to get into an ordinary college. They all agree their futures were never compatible. Another student tries to remember the boyfriend's name, guessing it might have been Fang Yai. Suddenly, Fang Yai appears before Shui Qingyi. She calmly states that she has made up her mind, believing their relationship is no longer realistic. She explains that high school love often ends with a moment of realization, suggesting they were never right for each other and that a lasting relationship requires equal standing and courage. She firmly tells him they should break up, adding that nothing he could do would change her decision. Fang Yai remains silent with a blank expression as the crowd watches. Internally, Shui Qingyi wonders if he's too stunned to respond. The crowd mocks him silently, assuming he'll beg the school's most popular girl to stay. However, Fang Yi casually replies, "All right," and brushes it off. Caught off guard, Shui Qingyi stares in disbelief. He says he'll leave if there's nothing more to say. As he walks away, she calls out for him to wait, wondering if his cold reaction is genuine or just an act. He looks back and calmly asks if she has anything else to say. Angrily, she warns him that no matter what he does, she will never return to him. He coldly tells her not to overestimate her importance. Speechless, Shui Qingyi watches as Fang Yai walks away, saying he's too busy to continue the conversation. As he leaves, Fang Yai reflects that Shui Qingyi and the others have no idea about the disasters to come. He is no longer the person they once knew. He has returned from the future. He knows that in the face of what's coming, society's standards, money, degrees, and reputation will become meaningless. To him, Shui Qingyi is just a figure from a past life that no longer holds any value. The story flashes back to the previous night. Strange visions surround Fang Yai as he receives a mysterious cosmic message. A countdown is revealed, 361 days until the beginning of the spiritual energy revival, which will bring unprecedented changes to the world. The message declares that society's standards will be overturned, and a new era of spiritual practitioners will rise, where power is the only measure of worth. A system from the end of the universe has activated, using a supreme algorithm to generate spiritual techniques based on the beings the user touches. The screen states that Fang Yi currently possesses 0 techniques. Suddenly, a massive beast with glowing red eyes lunges toward him from the system interface. His eyes widen as he relives the fate he once shared with countless ordinary humans. He recalls his previous life, where he was a powerless person swept up in the disaster, fighting only to survive as mutated beasts roamed the city, and his homeland collapsed. He died in despair, consumed by a burning desire for revenge. He believes the system chose him because of this intense desire, giving him the chance to return 1 year before the cataclysm. Now, he is determined to use this year to turn every spiritual event to his advantage. As the system binds to him, it declares a new path is opened. Everything in the world can now be used to forge spiritual techniques, making him a powerful practitioner destined to save humanity. In the outside world, officials announce that humanity is facing an unprecedented crisis. Fang Yi notes that the authorities in the Shia country are using calm, indirect methods to prepare people without spreading panic, a far better approach than the chaos seen in neighboring countries. He remembers the system's rule, everything strange can become a source of power. Checking his phone, he sees a headline warning of the highest of levels in a century at Jiangxing University. While other students dismiss it as mere hype, Fang Yi knows the danger is real. He notices the sky above him is cloudy, and his phone shows an index of 0. Yet Jiangxing University, only 15 minutes away, is experiencing extreme conditions. This is his first opportunity. Arriving at Jiangxing University's north gate, Fang Yi sees students fleeing from the unbearable heat. He calmly observes glowing particles floating in the air. As he crouches down and touches one of the orbs, a flash of light erupts. The system detects a severe solar-type energy disturbance and initiates a data template. Screaming in pain as the overwhelming energy surges through his body, Fang Yi is engulfed in a massive burst of radiant light. Onlookers react in shock, with some joking it's a Super Saiyan moment. The system confirms the formation is complete, and he has obtained the golden sun breathing technique. His transformation is complete, his hair has turned white, his eyes glow gold, and his body radiates with powerful solar energy. Meanwhile, at the new student welcome day, Shui Kinji is politely declining offers of help from love-struck boys when a massive explosion of light in the distance catches everyone's attention. A warning blares over the loudspeakers advising students to stay away from the north gate. Realizing that strange things are happening everywhere, she decides to investigate. Amidst the smoke and flames, a system panel appears before Fang Ye, explaining that by staring into the sun and breathing the heat, he can use golden sun breathing to strengthen his body. He has unlocked a new skill and gained 59 inscription points. He decides to figure out what they are later. Just then, the university president and a hooded officer arrive with security, ordering the area to be sealed off. The system notifies Fang Ye that the contaminated zone at the north gate has been purified, and explains that such zones are officially designated areas where spirit energy appears. Realizing the disturbance has attracted too much attention, Fang Ye launches himself into the sky and makes his escape. The hooded officer kneels and picks up a small crystal fragment, stating that the event was no accident, and that someone may have already begun resonating with spirit energy. Overhearing this, Shui Kinji wonders if these terrifying events could be caused by humans. From a distance, she thinks she saw a shadow that looked like Fang Ye but dismisses the thought, believing it impossible for him to have entered Jingqing University. Later that night in his house, Fang Ye struggles with the intense heat radiating from his body. Worried that the chaos might have exposed him, he checks his phone and finds a trending update from the Spirit Energy Practitioners Association about a new ranking system. He recalls the group as an obscure online community but now suspects the people he saw at the university were part of it. The announcement, officially released by the Xia country, details various ranks of spiritual cultivation. Realizing this is a signal for early awakeners, he resumes practicing the golden sun breathing technique. Golden energy swirls around him as he levitates, strengthening his body to become a vessel for the energy of heaven and earth. As he channels the power, the system confirms his breakthrough to the one-star Gosax realm. He then remembers his 50 remaining inscription points, which can be used to convert knowledge into skills by embedding power into anything. Curious, he tests it on a mug, successfully granting a sun attribute. Smirking, he realizes the limitless potential of this ability and plans to create a true supernatural weapon to prepare for the coming threat of mutated beasts. Under the moonlight, a large mutated beast approaches his building. Fang Ye, whose senses have sharpened since his breakthrough, hears its unnatural coughing sounds. Peeking out his door, he spots a mutated rabbit beast with glowing red eyes in the hallway. Even with memories from his past life, seeing it again sends a chill down his spine. At the same time, a girl with a lollipop stands on a rooftop, reporting that the rabbit, having consumed a dark spirit fruit, is on the loose and shockingly fast. She leaps across rooftops in pursuit, sensing its dark energy in a residential area 20 kilometers away. The mutated beast charges toward Fang Ye. His body has improved since his breakthrough. He can clearly see the beast's movements, and easily dodges its attack. He recalls from his past life that the beast is not fully transformed, but the dark energy has boosted its power and madness. He unleashes his golden energy, grabbing the beast and slamming it to the ground. Knowing its weak point is its tail, he launches it into the air and blasts it with a powerful golden beam. The beast tries to absorb the energy, but Fang Ye declares that the sun's power is too majestic and that the beast is bringing about its own destruction. A massive explosion erupts, leaving nothing behind. The girl from the rooftop descends and finds the beast's torn apart corpse. As she prepares to collect the remaining dark energy, she is shocked by the intense heat left at the scene. She recognizes it as high purity yang energy, similar to what was detected at Jingqing University, and suspects it's no coincidence. She contacts Erhik, reporting that a new pioneer with a high-grade elemental affinity killed the rabbit. It confirms this individual is not in their archives, and instructs her to postpone all other missions to track down and recruit this talented pioneer. The girl calmly agrees, then casually says that first, she wants a cup of milk tea. The next morning, Fang Ye continues his cultivation using his golden sun breathing technique. He experiences another breakthrough faster than expected, and his axe technique becomes more refined and destructive. Recognizing that his cultivation is too flashy, he decides to find a quieter place to train. In a remote mountain forest, Fang Ye uses his inscription points to successfully implant the yang attribute into a new blade. He feels the weapon resonate strongly with his body. He tests its power with a mighty swing, unleashing a massive arc of fiery energy that nearly starts a wildfire. Realizing he's been noticed, he quickly prepares to leave. Just then, the girl from before rushes toward the scene, frustrated that she missed him again while she was out getting milk tea. She is stunned to sense that the pioneer's aura, which was 1-star Gosax last night, has already advanced to 2-star. Furthermore, he now wields a spirit weapon, a powerful tool infused with attributes far beyond ordinary weapons, and extremely rare. Later, while checking his phone, Fang Ye receives a message from a user named idoxofany2, who identifies him as a fellow pioneer. They discuss cultivation, and Fang Ye is surprised to learn that even official military recruits are still only at the Ghost Axe realm. idoxofany2 invites him to team up to clear a newly formed pollution zone, sending him a file titled Dark River Molten Dragon. After reviewing the file, Fang Ye learns that the zone originated from a dark river altered by tectonic shifts, and now possesses a yang type attribute, matching his own perfectly. Seeing it as a promising opportunity, Fang He sends a message confirming he will join the team. A group stands before a massive, sealed entrance. One member thanks another for the detailed map and intel that helped him find the location easily. Another member expresses gratitude for the group's support, reminding everyone that once they're inside, they'll need to watch out for each other. Jian Shoya, a staff member from the Ministry of Culture's Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association, laments that there don't seem to be any standout pioneers to recommend this time. A narration explains that most pioneers don't realize the association is a government agency. Becoming a formal member is extremely difficult, often requiring heavy connections and multiple tests. Jian Shoya sighs, dreading overtime if the group doesn't discover anything. Just then, someone excitedly recognizes Fang Ye approaching. Fang Ye steps forward confidently and introduces himself to the group, saying it's nice to meet them all. Jian Shoya observes Fang Ye and guesses he's at the Ghost Axe Realm 2-star. She finds his strong aura unusual. It's warm and not oppressive. The group stands ready at the cave entrance. Someone announces that since everyone's gathered, it's time to move out. Inside the cave, Fang Ye takes the lead and tells Jian Shoya to handle the light. She agrees and the group begins their cautious descent. As they explore, one member warns Fang Ye to be careful of loose rocks. Another comments the heat isn't as intense as expected, guessing it's because they haven't reached the core of the pollution zone yet. Fang Ye reminds everyone to prioritize safety and speak up if they feel tired. He reflects that although he arrived last, the group has already welcomed him warmly. He senses their friendliness is genuine, whether out of kindness or survival instinct. The team reaches a cavern filled with glowing molten lava. One of them exclaims in awe, "It really is lava." Fang Ye suddenly steps toward the lava without hesitation, alarming the group. Jian Shoya warns him not to act recklessly with danger ahead. Ignoring their shouts, Fang Ye plunges a weapon into the lava. The others panic, yelling at him for being reckless and shouting to pull him back. Flames erupt violently from the lava pit as Fang Ye makes contact, shocking the team. The system detects a world anomaly called inner flame, and begins analyzing it, activating ultimate computing power to code the phenomenon. The analysis reveals that the inner flame has an extremely high internal temperature and explosive traits, making it incredibly destructive. The system then describes the crimson flame blade technique. When the blade is drawn, each strike is surrounded by blazing flames and lightning, unleashing its full might. Surrounded by swirling fire energy, Fang Ye prepares his hand to activate the technique. He declares that it perfectly complements his Ting blade, and chooses to spend a serial point to imbibe the inner flame attribute into the weapon. The team watches in awe as Fang Ye rises safely from the lava. They notice his weapon is absorbing the lava's energy, and confirm he's unharmed. As flames swirl around his newly enhanced blade, Fang Ye stands confidently. One of the team members praises his discovery, deciding to also absorb energy during training. Fang Ye notes that the spiritual energy has stabilized, and announces it's time to cultivate. A teammate raises his arms excitedly, saying he can now absorb energy smoothly. Another shares the same experience, saying that with a bit more training, they'll officially enter the cultivation path. Jian Shoya smiles and assures them not to worry about safety. She's only there to gather intel, and will keep watch while they focus. Everyone expresses their gratitude to her. Suddenly, Jian Shoya turns toward the cave entrance and notices new figures approaching. More pioneers are coming, she warns. An aggressive group of newcomers arrives. Their red-haired leader mocks the others, calling them small fries and declares the area his. Jian Shoya looks at her cultivating teammates and realizes all three enemies are at the one-star Ghost Axe realm, concluding they can't risk provoking them. She politely responds that they found the location first and her friends have already started absorbing energy. She offers to share the space if they're willing to cultivate peacefully. The man scoffs at her strength, yells at her to get lost, and threatens violence if they don't leave immediately. Jian Shoya silently reflects that in this era of spiritual energy revival, the rule is survival of the fittest, and the weak are left behind. Despite that, she reminds herself that as a member of the Xia country's association, she must intervene. Just then, Fang Yi steps forward with a confident smirk, surprising her. Standing tall, he confronts the red-haired man, accusing him of only knowing how to bully a girl. The man reacts with shock, shouting, "What?" Fang Yi unsheathes his flaming blade and strikes, sending out a powerful shockwave that pushes back the enemies, stunning everyone. The man shouts for his group to fall back as Fang Yi's flaming attack blasts them into the air, overwhelming their defense. One of Fang Yi's teammates, startled by the sudden energy shockwave, asks, "What just happened?" Fang Yi reflects that the world's tragedies began because cultivators started worshipping the idea of the strong preying on the weak. He concludes that such people aren't swayed by words or morals, only power can stop them. He unleashes another fiery slash, telling the enemy to get lost as the attack erupts. Stunned by the second explosion, the enemy leader panics, questioning what kind of monster he's facing. Overwhelmed, the group turns and flees in terror as Fang Yi calmly holds his sword. His teammates rush over in excitement, praising his insane power. Fang Yi smiles and says the enemies crossed the line, but they've absorbed enough spiritual energy, so it's time to leave. As the group prepares to exit, they reflect on how destructive Fang Yi's attack could have been if it had fully landed. Watching him walk away, Jiang Xiaoya observes that he's clearly a top-tier pioneer with elite talent and a powerful attribute. Clenching her fist, she firmly decides that this event must be reported. At the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association office, a woman reacts to a report, asking, "Another high-tier attribute pioneer has appeared." Jiang Xiaoya, on the other end, is shocked to hear the word "another." Caught off guard, she nervously denies anything suspicious while secretly confirming she recorded the event. Later, she excitedly tells her teacher that they found 2 high-tier pioneers back, but he dismisses it. It's not luck. Anyone with a high-tier attribute now holds value, and will soon rise to power. The older man rubs his forehead, frustrated by recent developments. Meanwhile, in town, Fang Yi walks in a hoodie, carrying his sword. Pearls nearby admire his appearance, making him feel embarrassed. He pretends to be a cosplayer to avoid attention. Suddenly he receives breaking news on his phone. Events from cultivation novels are starting to come true. A golden light in the east, a purple aura, and even a dragon sighting. Fang Yi realizes the anomaly was caused by his inner flame's power. He decides to head to the back mountain to continue cultivating. 5 minutes later, at the back mountain, Viking stretches, celebrating the completion of her task. She's startled by a powerful energy surge glowing in the distance, sensing it's coming from the mountain. The overwhelming aura spirals upward, signaling someone is breaking through to the 3-star Ghost Axe realm. Shocked by the scale of the energy, Viking realizes this breakthrough is monstrous and questions who could be behind it. She decides she must immediately investigate. Rushing forward, she wonders if it could be that guy, though it seems unlikely. Spiritual energy forms above Fang Yi, spinning rapidly in a spiral while lightning crackles. He sits cross-legged, surrounded by intense golden flames, his eyes glowing. The golden energy condenses, making with blue currents, as it takes the shape of a glowing axe. Viking watches from above, realizing that Fang Yi is trying to control a divine axe. She notes the difficulty of manipulating spiritual power so precisely, and wonders if he secretly trained for years. Viking recalls how she previously failed while breaking through, vomiting blood and collapsing. Staring at Fang Yi, she questions if he's truly a monster born from thunder. She observes how he controls the divine axe with precision, recognizing that someone like him isn't just a genius, he's a being summoned by the heavens. While most cultivators would rush to finish after forming a core, Fang Yi maintains sharp focus. Viking compares his calm to that of a high-ranking cultivator. The divine axe begins to move again. The divine axe has shifted toward the east, she yells. Fang Yi's eyes glow intensely with golden light. He rises into the air, fully wrapped in golden lightning, as he successfully breaks through to the 2nd star of the Ghost Axe realm. Viking braces herself amid the crashing energy blasts. She is flung back by a massive energy surge as Fang Yi's divine axe unleashes a shockwave. Catching her breath, Viking wonders why she still can't get close. She realizes he may have already detected her presence. Looking up at a large glowing tree, Viking notes that the divine axe seems to have stopped. Fang Yi hides in the trees and watches Viking, realizing she's the one who's been investigating him. Viking introduces herself as the captain of a field team from the Spirit Energy Association and formally extends an invitation to Fang Yi on behalf of the organization. He responds calmly, explaining that he was only following her in hopes of joining the official association. He acknowledges that they all must face the same threats ahead and admits that if he were her, he wouldn't trust someone like him easily either. Visibly affected by his honesty, Bai King pulls out her ID card and formally introduces herself as Su Mantang, an athlete from a Spirit Energy Association. Fang Yai mutters that her name seems familiar. He remembers that in his previous life, Su Mantang failed to fulfill her mission, and humanity was ultimately wiped out. He thinks that now that he's been reborn and granted a system, he must one day join their cause. But the time isn't right yet. Fang Yi quickly leaps away, telling her he'll consider the offer, and asking her to temporarily keep his identity a secret. Su Mantang agrees but says the association has already noticed the disturbance from his breakthrough, and she must report it eventually, perhaps in half a year. Fang Yi accepts the condition. Leaping through the forest, Su Mantang is frustrated that Fang Yi slipped away again. She receives a message through her earpiece, and is shocked to hear that an abnormal has reappeared, recalling the brutal monster pack responsible for past horrors. These creatures, classified as abnormal beings, grow stronger by absorbing aura, becoming more destructive over time. Lightning strikes in a heavy rainstorm. Emergency warnings flash on screens, announcing that the area has entered a dangerous state. Fang Yi notes the intense lightning pressure and realizes the center of the storm is still moving. He stops before a distant mountain struck by purple lightning, recognizing the signal is coming from there. He leaps forward into the storm, receiving a system alert confirming the contaminated target location, Jade Peak. The system reports that the contamination level is currently unknown. Suddenly, a massive bolt of blue lightning strikes down in front of him. At an emergency meeting, a man in a suit says the spiritual energy levels at Yuhuan Peak are rising rapidly. Bai King explains that the peak is currently inaccessible due to explosive lightning, spiritual energy. She adds that in 1 hour, it will reach a level demanding a new emergency classification, but no one in their district has the ability to approach it safely. Officials review data and conclude that even Ghost Axe Tier 3 elites have a 100 fatality rate. They decide to lock down the mountain until energy levels drop. Amid the storm, Fang Yi appears in a hooded cloak, muttering to himself that he will reclaim his memory. He realizes that to absorb the powerful spiritual energy, he must move deeper into the mountain's core. He reflects on the deadly nature of this energy, and knows he still lacks the strength to fully wield his powers against future enemies. Only by pushing his limits can he survive. He sees the immense lightning energy as the perfect chance to strengthen his body. As lightning strikes, Fang Yi braces for impact, marveling at the overwhelming force. Caught in the center of the storm, he screams while absorbing the energy, enduring the painful surge. Breathing heavily, he senses the deadly lightning attribute in his sword, a force like a punishment from the heavens. Taking a deep breath, he activates golden flame breathing at full force and charges upward, clashing directly with the incoming lightning. Despite blood dripping from his mouth, he pushes forward into the heart of the storm, declaring that he will survive through death itself. A system notification appears. Massive surge of lightning energy detected and recorded. People in the city watch the storm, shocked by the scale of the strike as Fang Yi is engulfed in an explosion of lightning and fire. A system message confirms he has obtained Divine Thunder Tempering and has been awarded 50 system points. As the inheritor of Divine Thunder, he now carries both lightning and fire attributes. He declares that lightning is both his fangs and his shield. A system prompt offers him the Pure Judgment lightning ability, capable of delivering 300 damage to evil beings. He wonders if he should embed this lightning energy into his blade. Though it could damage its structure, it might also break its limits. The system asks if he wants to embed the lightning attribute into the object. He decides the energy should go into his right hand and confirms the command. Lightning gathers in his hand as he prepares to absorb the power directly. The next day at Yuhuan Peak, military personnel observe the aftermath. An officer, Major Han Li, confirms that a pioneer had already entered the mountain before them. Bai King is surprised and asks if the person survived. Kneeling, she explains she can't sense his attributes because the violent lightning from yesterday has made tracking difficult. The officer explains that the spiritual burst occurred at 7 and the person might have entered before the data was finalized. He notes that the spiritual density dropped drastically afterward, and suspects the intruder has lightning-based powers that helped him absorb the energy. He concludes the person not only survived but used the event as a rare opportunity. Major Hanli and Bai King agree that someone this capable is dangerous. They question whether this person is a friend or a threat. The officer declares that the mysterious person must be located, and assigns him the code name, Tarrant. The investigation begins immediately. Atop the rain-soaked summit, the head of the association informs Major Han Li that one of their top pioneers is already attempting to establish contact, and instructs Bai King to brief the major. Caught off guard, she quickly pieces together a report, linking the disturbance to the same pioneer from the university incident. Internally, she is a mess, nervous that one wrong word might expose her secret alliance with Fang Yai. She explains she'd been trying to reach him, recalling a mutated rabbit's corpse he'd killed, and promises to uncover how he purified the university's gate. Major Hanli seems satisfied and praises her efforts. Once the meeting concludes, he mentions plans to spread false reports of natural disasters to keep the public calm. Meanwhile, at his home, Fang Yai activates his golden sun breathing technique to dry his soaked hoodie. He examines the changes within his body. His right hand now crackles with blue lightning, completely transformed. What surprises him most is how tame the thunder energy has become. He recalls the system's message. The thunder ability doubles damage against supernatural threats. A sudden pain from his phone snaps him out of his thoughts. He has set up custom alerts, knowing that in this era, each crisis is a new chance to grow. The breaking news reports a massive explosion at a chemical plant. Official reports claim no injuries, but Fang Yai doesn't buy it. He browses online forums where eyewitnesses describe a chilling, evil atmosphere around the blast site. A horrifying memory from his previous life surfaces, a giant, crimson, man-eating beast that tore everything apart. He knew it was a mutated creature. Realizing the urgency, Fang Yai clenches his lightning-charged fist. He couldn't allow this creature to grow stronger. Tonight, he would face it. That same rainy night, an elite squad in black cloaks, the Destroyer Squad, moves through the city. They report that they have been tracking a target named Candle Knight but have lost it, as it can vanish into darkness. The operative added new intel. The creature gave off a low, sizzling sound and preyed on humans. High above the city, lightning flashed as the team landed on a rooftop. Their leader, a hard-faced man with silver hair and a scar, knew the storm gave the creature an advantage. With determination, he declared they had to stop it. At the central command station, an operator received the update. The report on Candle Knight was finalized. An extermination directive was immediately issued. Priority level red. The target needed to be neutralized within 12 hours. The squad received instructions to continue the hunt, but not to risk unnecessary casualties. With renewed urgency, they dashed across rooftops. The squad leader paused to check a glowing digital map. Red dots marked multiple active threats. 12 hours wasn't ideal, but it was the best the stretched resources of the nation could offer. Just as they neared Candle Knight's last known location, a warning came in. The area was currently under the jurisdiction of the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association. A photo of Su Qingqing popped up on the screen. She and her team were already on site monitoring pioneers. The squad leader acknowledged the update and requested her assistance, noting her reputation for exceptional work. Elsewhere, Su Qingqing raised an eyebrow, surprised by her sudden fame. Back in the field, the destroyer squad waited under the rain. Soon, Su Qingqing and her cloaked team arrived, taking position on a rooftop above. With a playful smirk, she asked if they were the ones dragging her out for some overtime. The squad leader wasn't amused. He firmly explained that Candle Knight was a man-eater. This was no casual favor. One of Su Qingqing's teammates shot back, questioning his rude approach. Su Qingqing turned to leave, sarcastically suggesting that since they seemed so capable, maybe they didn't need her after all. Her team followed, murmuring to one another, some concerned about her sharp attitude, others insisting their missions were just as risky. Panic flashed across the squad leader's face. He called out, apologizing and pleading for help. He emphasized how deadly Candle Knight was, and how much they needed her renowned tracking skills. If they failed, he warned, innocent lives would be lost. Cloak's squad stood on a rooftop overlooking the city in the rain. One of them detected something and announced they'd found it. The portal unleashed a strange force spiraling down into the city. A creature with red eyes emerged in the shadows. File number 7. Candle Knight likes darkness, dampness, and eating people. The squad received the command. The man confirmed, Destruction Squad, begin operation. As they prepared to engage, the monster Candle Knight stirred. Its glowing red eyes fixated on the squad's direction. Candle Knight leaped from its position with explosive speed. One of the squad members shouted that the target had detected them, and commanded the squad to deploy formation. The monster lunged forward, but members of the squad dashed in from multiple directions. One shouted, "East," others responded in unison, surrounding the target from all sides with precise coordination. The squad yelled as they closed in on the monster with intensity. As the team positioned themselves, Candle Knight let out a roar, and one squad member rose from the shadows to kill it. The strike hit the monster hard as it let out a sharp squeal and pounced in response. Then the monster swiped through to brace, showing its physical power. Its eyes glowed red as it snarled in rage with a furious roar. Candle Knight spun into a vortex of energy, launching into a terrifying spiral attack. Su Qingjing warned the squad to dodge quickly, shouting that a soundwave attack was incoming. A spiraling shockwave tore through the battlefield, sending squad members flying as the vortex smashed the surroundings. Su Qingjing checked on their leader, asking if he was okay. The captain, bleeding from his arm, admitted that if he hadn't backed off in time, the impact would have shattered his bones. He warned that with its dark attributes and destructive force, Candle Knight would cause a catastrophe if it stayed in the city. Candle Knight's body glowed green as it channeled corrosive dark energy. A massive green shockwave erupted beneath the creature, as it unleashed its power into the ground. The monster started digging rapidly, melting through the earth with corrosive breath in an attempt to escape. Su Qingjing shouted that it was trying to burrow underground. Another warned that its dark attribute corrodes anything it touches instantly and they lacked a high-tier counter attribute to stop it. A squad member explained that while Candle Knight could corrode the ground, it couldn't tunnel out instantly. He urged the team not to break formation, reminding them their role was intel and tactical support. Another soldier shouted for everyone to stay alert. Suddenly, glowing red eyes emerged from the darkness. Candle Knight burst out violently and struck, knocking a squad member into the air with a fierce blow. The leader yelled for everyone to chase the monster before it escaped. As they followed the green energy trail, a surge in spiritual energy was detected. Reaching a rooftop, one member noticed the spike and commanded the others to wait outside while they followed the target in. Inside an abandoned factory, the lead scout prepared to scan for spiritual energy readings. The leader asked if the device on Su Qingjing's wrist was the new auxiliary tool from the association. She confirmed and explained that the average squad could handle anomaly levels up to 50. The creature they chased was just below that at 48. Suddenly, the watch spiked to 80 and continued rising, shocking them. She realized there was more than one anomaly present. As the group entered the factory, a dark serpent loomed above. They both turned in alarm as a loud crash behind them confirmed they weren't alone. Another threat had arrived. Su Qingjing realized they were tricked. Candle Knight had lured them in to trap them with another anomaly. She told the group they must retreat immediately. The leader suggested heading to the door. If the anomaly wanted to stop them, it would have to reveal itself. Together, they fired an attack to force the door open. As they ran, Su Qingjing was struck by something and collapsed. Gasping in pain, she realized her senses and body were being overtaken by poison gas. As a dark creature loomed in the mist, she called out to the others but got no reply. Alone in the misty factory, she suspected they were nearby but unable to respond. Holding her communicator, she pieced it together. Candle Knight lured them in, but the poisonous place belonged to another anomaly, likely a giant serpent. The serpent's face emerged from the toxic fog. She realized that unlike Candle Knight's dark powers, this mist was poisonous, and began affecting them the moment they entered. The gas not only paralyzed senses but also drained spiritual energy rapidly. She knew if she tried to attack now, her energy would run out. She was already close to collapse. Lying on the ground, she questioned what kind of anomaly could possess such intelligence and overwhelming power. It felt like they were being toyed with. Her body collapsed completely. A faint light broke through the ceiling above, but she was too weak to move as her eye barely opened, struggling to stay conscious as she sensed something approaching. Fang Yi crashed down from above, descending with confidence. He landed firmly on the ground, cracking the floor beneath him with sheer impact. Standing tall, he faced the looming serpent and confirmed it was a dark attribute anomaly, unfazed and fully in control. The black serpent lunged with jaws wide open, aiming to devour the intruder. He dodged swiftly, but a second creature, Candle Knight, crashed into him from above. He was forced back, growling in frustration as both enemies closed in. Realizing the truth mid-battle, he confirmed there were two anomalies working together. He smirked, realizing one anomaly lured while the other harvested. He mocked Candle Knight for biting him, saying it must enjoy it too much. Power surged through him as he activated thunder energy. He slashed through the serpent, burning its body with a blazing attack enhanced by thunder. With lightning crackling, he turned to the next enemy and challenged it to handle fire next. The serpent became extremely angry after seeing Fang Yi's interface. The moment it spotted him, it started attacking. However, seeing the serpent charging, Fang Yi dodged and quickly drew his sword, getting ready to strike. As soon as the serpent pulled its head out from the wall and looked upward, it realized that the person in front of it was charging in with a sword. At this moment, Fang Yi had already gotten very close, and upon reaching it, he struck the sword directly at the center of the serpent's head. The attack landed directly on the serpent's skull and sliced the python right down the middle. Just after landing the attack, Fang Yi stepped back slightly and looked in shock as the serpent, even after being split in half, started regenerating. Fang Yi had already expected something like this would happen. He had anticipated that the serpent would surely have a regeneration ability. While the serpent was trying to recover, a powerful bolt of electricity struck its head. The moment the lightning hit, it began screaming in agony. Seeing this, Fang Yi smiled. This attack was launched by him. Watching the python die in front of him, he smiled and thought, good thing I sensed it in advance. This serpent's dark aura is even denser than Candle Knight's. Then he raised his sword once again and attacked the python. Just now, while wielding the Tang sword and unleashing the power of internal flame, I controlled the force and retracted it. Using the sword as a carrier, I condensed and channeled the thunderbolt power in my hand into the snake's body. The moment Fang Yi's fire-type attack was unleashed through the blade and struck the python, it started burning. Seeing this, Fang Yi thought, as a dark-type anomaly, Candle Knight may be eerie and sneaky, but its power is relatively weak. It's bloodthirsty, but at most, it could only harm 1 or 2 humans, not truly evolve. But this serpent. Just then, Fang Yi groaned in pain and noticed that snake scales were attached to his shoulder, spreading poison through his body. He started recalling the fight with the python, thinking about how this happened. Then he remembered when the scales made contact with his body. Just as I thought. It's a cunning mutated species. Its intelligence has even improved. These sneak attacks are deadly. Its poison carries a built-in paralyzing effect. It kills silently without a trace. At this moment, Fang Yi was feeling intense pain, probably because of the continuous flow of the golden sun breathing technique within his body. The moment he felt this, he started thinking again. The yang flame attribute can dissolve poison. The golden sun breathing technique protects and heals, and the thunder attribute purifies. These two give a clear pain response to poison intrusion, warning me of incoming enemy attacks. But for others less lucky, even with some defensive ability, it may be incurable. This serpent grew to this size so stealthily. Besides likely being at the 3-star Ghost Axe realm, it surely relies on ambush predation. Not to mention, with Candle Knight as a partner, it's the perfect trap combo for elite pioneers. It's probably devoured quite a few people by now. Many pioneers who never met up with the association are likely. As he's thinking all this, in front of him, the serpent's body continued to burn. Fang Yi kept staring at the serpent, and continued thinking. Finally, no matter how sinister and venomous it was, its end is ash and dust. The inner flame energy was pure, but the thunder attribute's triple crit really stole the spotlight. I feel like my combat ability is pretty decent among pioneers now, right? And just after a short while, the serpent completely turned to ash. After burning it entirely, Fang Yi moved his hand close to the fire but suddenly stopped and began looking around. Sensing something, he looked into the smoke where Su Qingying was coughing. She appeared to be in extremely bad condition, looking almost semi-unconscious. Seeing her, Fang Yi said, "This is that girl from the association. What was her name again?" Then, walking closer to her, he said, "There's no need for you to keep pretending. I know you're faking your death. You should improve your acting skills. It's clear you're just pretending." Seeing Fang Yi up close, Su Qingying started covering her face and thought to herself, "Oh my god. Enemies always meet on narrow paths. It really was him earlier." Then trying to make an excuse, she said, "I woke up because of the smell. I wasn't pretending. I really did pass out." And after saying this, she stood up. Fang Yi, watching her, smiled and said, "You're strong. Your teammates all ran out of energy and passed out. But you still had enough left to shield yourself. If you had no will left, you wouldn't have been able to smell blood or burnt flesh." Hearing this, Su Qingying thanked him for the compliment, though she was still hiding her face and thinking to herself, "I did keep a sliver of spiritual energy to protect myself," and he noticed. "But I have no idea how he beat Candle Knight, and that giant serpent." Seeing her like that, Fang Yi said to her, "There's no need to cover your eyes. Just be honest, and promise not to reveal my identity." When Fang Yi said this, Su Qingying thought to herself, "This time he seems more friendly, and he's actually talking like a friend." Then, bidding her farewell, Fang Yi said, "I'm getting late. You and your teammates are no longer in danger, so I'd like to leave first." And with that, he started to leave. As soon as he began to go, Su Qingying loudly called out to stop him. But Fang Yi jumped out through a broken hole in the roof and said, "No need. Talking too much only messes things up. I'll leave everything here to you." And with that, he exited the building. Walking away, he thought to himself, "Good thing she didn't see me trying to absorb the dark attribute just now. That discomfort and eerie coldness were really disgusting." Maybe it's because the dark spiritual energy had already been dispelled and my body instinctively rejected it that I failed. The system didn't respond either. Forget it. I'll review it later at home. Meanwhile, back inside the building, Su Qingying slapped her teammates awake and said, "All of you get up quickly. It's all over now." Just then, the senior member of the team woke up and immediately shouted, "We were ambushed." Then he saw the serpent's body burning right in front of him. The rest of the teammates, now regaining consciousness, also began to watch the serpent's dead body burning in flames. Seeing the serpent's corpse burning, the senior member of the team looked on in shock and asked, "What's going on? Where did that overwhelming yang attribute come from?" In response, Su Qingying stepped forward and calmly replied, "As you can see, some pioneers came to help us." She paused for a moment before continuing. "It should be the target of my mission. My original task was to track an extremely high-level attribute pioneer, this yang attribute." Hearing this, some of the others nearby turned to her in surprise and asked, "So, do you know who he is?" Su Qingying shook her head slightly and answered, "I haven't succeeded yet. His identity is still a mystery. Actually, I was counter-tracked by him. He knew exactly what I was doing. But this time, he saved us." As her words sank in, one of the team members lit up with excitement and exclaimed, "To think someone could solo both Candle Knight and that giant serpent. What a monster." The senior, still processing the situation, walked over to the python's dead body. With a serious expression, he said, "Speaking of which, where's Candle Knight's corpse? Let's clean up the scene first, and submit the remains to the association." As the senior began clearing the area, his foot suddenly landed on one of the python's scales. The moment his foot touched the scale, a surge of electricity erupted from it, crackling violently. Shocked, the senior quickly pulled his foot back and shouted, "This is violet energy." Then turning to Su Qingying, he asked urgently, "Captain Su Qingying, didn't you say earlier that it was a yang attribute? But this residual electrical charge is way too intense." Hearing this, Su Qingying stepped forward to inspect more closely and asked, "Is this Candle Knight's corpse?" "The thunder attribute's purity. It's very strong, definitely high tier." The senior crouched down near the serpent's charred remains, carefully examining the electrical residue on the ground. He muttered, half in disbelief, "Could it be too high? Level pioneers appeared here. One killed the black serpent, one killed Candle Knight, and then they left together." But Su Qingying stood still, staring at the corpse in front of her. Her eyes narrowed in thought as she silently concluded, "No, that's not it. How should I put it? Only one person showed up here. No one would believe that a single person carried two extremely high-level attributes. Just having one of them would make someone a top-tier genius. A dual high-tier attribute pioneer. That's practically unheard of." She clenched her fists slightly, her mind racing as she tried to comprehend the truth. Yang Flame Walker. Thunder Tyrant. Just what kind of freak is this guy? After that, the story shifts forward slightly. Around the factory, several association vehicles had arrived. Seeing them pull up outside, Su Qingying thought to herself, good thing a station team members outside the factory. If they stayed inside too long, they would have reported to the association. Based on the situation, the association sent reconnaissance personnel to the scene. Their original intent was to collect our corpses. Inside the factory, Su Qingying was seated with two of her female teammates holding on to her tightly. One of them looked at her with teary eyes and said emotionally, "Boss, you're alive. I thought I'd lost my captain forever." The second added, "If he had died, what would I have done? Boss, tell me." Su Qingying listened to them silently, thinking to herself with mild irritation, what nonsense are they going on about? At that moment, the association's scanning team had entered the factory. Their primary task had now shifted. They were scanning for residual spiritual energy, analyzing the traces, and reconstructing the battle. These were association reconnaissance personnel, and their duty was to report the outcome back to headquarters. As the scanning team examined the serpent's corpse, one of the personnel turned towards Su Qingying and the senior and said, "Both captains, based on trace comparisons of the scene, whether it's combat habits or kill patterns, it all points to one person who killed both anomalies. There's a 99 probability it's the same individual." Hearing this, the senior standing nearby became serious and said, "It really is a dual high-tier attribute pioneer. I thought we'd made a mistake. But indeed, either of those two anomalies alone could have wiped us out." A teammate standing beside him chimed in, "Exactly. This powerhouse finished them off in a single strike. We're all Ghost Axe realm, too, but the gap is ridiculous." Su Qingying quickly stepped aside to make a call and report the findings to the association. She said, "My surveillance target appeared. The data has been updated. I need to report to the higher ups. These are the results. Tyrant and the North Gate of Qingcheng University were both my assigned targets. On the other end of the line, the association's leader responded after hearing her out. I understand the situation, Su Qingjing. For now, I want you to halt your mission. He saved you, eliminated the anomalies, and secured this entire area. That means he doesn't resent the association, and he's not our enemy. Anyway, Old Han and I don't quite see eye to eye on this. For your safety and to leave a good impression on that tyrant, avoid contacting him for now. Su Qingjing responded firmly. Understood. But I still have one theory. Something that happened before when Tyrant was about to advance up the back mountain. The chief asked, "What do you mean?" She explained, "I once sensed an incredibly strong aura in the area where he was active. I suspected he might have a spiritual weapon but thought it was unlikely. But now that it's confirmed he's a dual high-tier attribute pioneer." Hearing this, the chief's tone shifted as he asked seriously, "Does he have a spiritual weapon?" Then he began to reason aloud. "That's unlikely. No matter how gifted he is, there's no way he could possess a spiritual weapon without outside help or resources. Besides, the reconnaissance team found no traces of a third spiritual energy attribute typically associated with a spiritual weapon." Su Qingjing clarified, "When I came into contact with him, the spiritual weapon aura I sensed was a yang attribute." The chief paused, then said, "I see. If the weapon's attribute comes directly from his own yang energy, then if he's a spirit creation realm cultivator, it's theoretically possible to do it solo." Hearing this, Su Qingjing was shocked and thought, spirit creation realm. Even globally, cultivators at that level are extremely rare. Barely more than 2 exist. Then the chief continued, "But if this person does possess a third attribute, that would shift the balance entirely. It would shake the entire pioneer community because, according to research, different attributes clash within the human body. It's nearly impossible for them to coexist. So far, no pioneer has ever been confirmed to possess 3 different spiritual attributes." He added one last thought, "If he really has a spiritual weapon, then the fact we didn't detect a third attribute might actually be a good thing. Let's hope such a powerful pioneer never becomes humanity's enemy." The story now shifts to Feng Yi, who is taking a shower. As he finishes and steps out, he begins thinking to himself, there's less than a year until the official spiritual energy revival, yet anomalies and phenomena are already erupting everywhere. Anomalies are becoming highly active. He dries his hair using his fire attribute, and his mind drifts back to recent developments. Many pioneers like myself have started cultivating on their own. Once the interface between the body and the spiritual world is opened, we become more sensitive to changes in heaven and earth, like those people I encountered at the underground river. Even without the country's official recognition, self-trained pioneers have generally reached the level of 1-star ghost penetration realm. Now that the country is reaching out to wild pioneers like me, it shows that both official and wild pioneers are in a relatively peaceful phase of mutual exploration. Anomalies are still within controllable limits, and there's no serious conflict among pioneers yet. He picks up his clothes and starts getting dressed, still deep in thought. However, even though the government established the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association, it still hasn't gone public. People everywhere are talking more frequently about local instability and unexplained phenomena. It's clear the government is trying both to protect humanity and issue early warnings. Then he thinks back to burning buildings from his past life. Normal city buildings turned to ash and chaos. Remembering them, he says, "But the problem lies exactly here. I can feel it. The government has no confidence in launching full-scale cultivation. With such a large population, once information is made public, order will collapse. Internal unrest will spread chaos and death. As it stands now, even recognized pioneers can't yet stabilize societal upheaval. Internal and external threats will only accelerate the collapse. So this gentle approach from the government isn't wrong. After all, human hearts are more frightening than ghosts or gods. But what worries me is that the development of anomalies is exceeding my expectations." Just as this thought crosses his mind, a notification pops up from his system. A reading related to the dark attribute, specifically one of its sub-attributes. The NC narrows his eyes and reflects. What I encountered today was a typical mutated product of dark attribute contamination. From touching the black mist, I could tell it belongs to a sub-branch of the dark attribute known as the shadow attribute, a natural enemy to pioneers. However, these anomalies are far more intelligent than typical exotic beasts. They not only feast on humans, but pioneer bodies are a great nutritional source for them. They may even cooperate to trap and kill pioneers. though they're still not on the same level as the true dark-type anomalies I saw before, the kind that could destroy a country, even a continent, with just one of them. Still, if I hadn't tracked them today, that squad and the one trying to recruit me might not have made it. Even just a sub-attribute was so sinister and disgusting. Full dark attribute threats are simply too dangerous. Then he looks at the system status note. Temporarily unabsorbable. That sparks another line of thought. But if it's labeled temporarily unabsorbable, does that mean I'll be able to absorb once system conditions are met? It might even be the key to turning the tide. He then does a mental inventory of his powers and techniques. Now I possess the golden sun breathing technique of the young attribute, the divine thunder tempering of the thunder attribute, and the crimson flame blade technique, a sub-attribute of yang called inner flame. Not just high-tier attributes, I also have corresponding techniques that perfectly suit me, plus my current strength as a 3-star Ghost X Realm Pioneer. There should be very few pioneers who can rival me. He takes a breath, but then his thoughts end on a firm, ominous note, but it's still not enough. Just then, Fang Yi's phone starts ringing. He glances at the screen and mutters to himself, it's Auntie's call. Why did she suddenly call? As soon as he picks up the phone, his aunt greets him warmly. Hello, how have you been? Listen, your cousin is coming to study near your place. I don't feel comfortable with her staying alone in a hotel. Can she stay at your place for a few days? Hearing that his cousin is coming, the MC thinks to himself, cousin's coming. The only thing I remember about her is she was a student obsessed with studying. I don't even remember what she looks like. He responds on the call, as if her come over. There's a spare room at home. Then he asks, when is she coming? To this, his aunt replies, need to pick her up. I'll give her the address, and let her come over by herself. Then adds with a smile, she'll bring you some special cookies and snacks when she arrives. She should be there by tomorrow afternoon. Sorry for the sudden trouble. The MC, unfazed, says with a soft chuckle. Auntie, what trouble? Based on the web novel dumped by his girlfriend, he turned to martial arts, and became the Dragon King. Here is a grammatically corrected version of the text, with the characters properly named. The main character is Fang Yi, and his cousin is Lin Yi. Don't worry at all, he adds. I have got some things to do, so I'll hang up now, and he ends the call. Meanwhile, at his aunt's house, a girl sits at her computer, intensely browsing articles about spiritual energy and martial arts. She's reading pieces discussing Death Town, park-based beast challenges, and various anomaly events. Just then, her mom, Fang Yi's aunt, enters the room and asks, did you finish packing? The girl responds, clearly not thrilled, yeah, everything's packed, but I really don't want to stay with my cousin. The hotel was fine for me. Her mom replies in a firm tone, it's much safer staying with your cousin than being alone out there. I trust him more than any hotel staff. Be sure not to cause trouble when you're staying there. Help out around the house when you can. All right. Before she can say more, the girl playfully shoves her mom out of the room and says, don't worry. I get it. I get it. As she shuts the door, she thinks to herself, one hurdle at a time. No matter what my cousin is like, he won't be harder to handle than an anomaly. The next day, the girl is seen walking with her phone in hand, following a map. A digital voice from the map says, you've arrived at your destination. She looks up at a large, hotel-style building in front of her and mutters, this should be the place. A girl named Lin Yi arrives directly in front of Fang Yi's house. As Fang Yi is stepping out of his room, she sees him and says, hello. Seeing this girl standing in front of him, Fang Yi says, so your name is Lin Yi. In his mind, he thinks, I totally couldn't recognize her. Fang Yi takes her inside the house, and starts asking questions. So you've come here for the summer camp? To this, Lin Yi replies with a yes. He then tells her if you need anything, just call me. To which the girl says, thank you, cousin. Fang Yi then gives her an extra key and says, keep this with you. I'm going to my room now. Your room is that one down the hall. The girl takes the extra key and apologizes for the trouble. Sorry for the trouble these few days. As Fang Yi is leaving, the girl thinks to herself, it seems it's easy to get along with my cousin. He won't interfere with my work. As Fang Yi walks away from the room, he glances sideways at his cousin and thinks, is my perception acting up? Or is she not hiding her presence? Well, when she was sitting on the couch earlier, I did faintly sense an unfamiliar trace of spiritual energy. Could it be she's already become a pioneer too? Then her excuse about coming here for summer camp. Was it actually because? Thinking this, he walks out of the room. When Fang Yi leaves the room, Lin Yi picks up her phone and starts chatting in her group chat. The first message she types is, Cousin seems nice. Doesn't look like he'll interfere with my activities. When do we move? Seeing this message, the group members become active. One of them, using the 18-year-old sultry woman, replies, "Don't rush. Keep a low profile. Things are chaotic here. There are a lot of pollution zones, and some are already claimed by other pioneers." Then another message pops up from the user scammed in online romance for 50 cents, who writes, "I heard that too. Last time at the underground river, two teens clashed, and a super powerful guy created a sun with one slash and forced the others to back off. After that, 18-year-old sultry woman sends another message. One slash created a sun. Seriously. That must be an extreme young attribute. Definitely a high-tier pioneer." Scammed in online romance for 50 cents responds, "It's real. I heard the same." To this, Lin Yi writes, "That's why we must be careful. The spiritual energy revival hasn't officially begun. Everything is hidden. Who knows how many monster-level pioneers the Xia country is hiding. We mustn't draw attention." Both group members reply again. Closing the chat, Lin Yi types, "All right. I'll wait for your signal." After finishing the conversation, she thinks to herself, "Forget it. I've just arrived. It's better if I don't cultivate for now. If my cousin catches me, it'll be very hard to explain." 3 days pass just like that, and Fang Yi is already feeling a little troubled by his cousin's presence. He thinks to himself, who would have thought living with my cousin would actually cause so much trouble for my cultivation? During this time he was also doing light training, but his meditation and breath regulation were constantly interrupted. Even cultivating the golden sun breathing technique might be seen. Whenever he used the technique, the light it emitted was so bright that he feared it would be noticed. Still, these were just small inconveniences. The most terrifying part was that his cousin had started cooking for him. "Cousin, dinner's ready. Tonight's tomato beef stew, cold cucumber salad, and corn rib soup," Lin Ye called out cheerfully. Fang Yi sat down at the dining table and replied, "All right, you've been really considerate today. Let me handle the dishes." But Lin Ye shook her head and said, "No need to worry. I'm staying here, so I can at least do this much." As he ate, Fang Ye thought to himself, too polite, with faultless etiquette. Does housework like someone with high. Still, not stopping her is part of making her drop her guard. Only then can I get to the bottom of her identity. Just then, Lin Ye's phone began ringing. Seeing the caller, Fang Ye asked, "Seriously, what's the matter?" "A friend's call made you leave your dinner." He then stood up from the table and said, "I'll leave you two alone. I'm going back to my room." Lin Yi raised her hand slightly, as if to stop him, but before she could speak, he had already left without looking back. Once Feng Ye left, Lin Yi picked up the phone. A voice on the other end said, "What did you say?" "Another major world shift will happen tomorrow." Hearing this, Lin Yi asked about the time. The caller gave it, and she replied, "All right, I'll definitely be there by 300. "Okay, then let's meet at the entrance of Yanghua Town." At that moment, Fang Ye was hiding outside the window, listening to everything. Upon hearing Yanghua Town, he thought to himself, Yanghua Town. Isn't that the trendy town in the suburbs? Just an hour's drive. Then, Lin Yad began cultivating. Feeling her spiritual power, Feng Ye smiled. Just as I suspected, my cousin is also a pioneer. Luckily, with her current strength, she probably can't detect me. But she's already at the 2-star Ghost Axe realm as a high schooler and might soon advance further. Is her talent so extreme that it's made her personality a bit odd? So this summer camp was a cover. The world shift is her real reason for coming. She must have learned about the shift and used it as an excuse to come here. Every world shift is both an opportunity and a way for me to gain new techniques to enhance my power. I wonder what attribute will appear in Yanghua Town this time. With that thought, he immediately set off toward Yanghua Town at full speed. Who cares what's there? Whatever it is, it's all going to be mine. He left so quickly that Lin Yi, sitting inside, slowly opened her eyes. A faint unease flashed across her face as she thought, that was strange. Was it just my imagination? Or was someone watching me? The scene shifts to Yanghua Town, where we see Lin Yi. Standing beside her is the girl from the chat group with the username scammed in online romance for 50 cents. She walks up to Lin Yi and teasingly asks, "You've been staying at your cousin's place these past few days, right? So is he hot?" Thinking of Fang Yi, Lin Yi answers, "Honestly, he's a good guy. As for looks, he's an ordinary, average person. He's definitely not the kind of impressive man you'd go for. He's more of a pretty boy." Hearing this, scammed in online romance for 50 cents looks slightly disappointed. "Well, that's a letdown," she mutters. Just then, 18-year-old sultry woman walks over and says to her, "Don't forget, Lin Yai wants to describe herself as just an ordinary person. There are more group members here, too." Among them, a boy sitting a bit farther away calls out, "All right, since everyone's here, let's get to the main issue." Lin Yai interrupts to ask, "By the way, is she not coming again?" The boy shakes his head. "We're still only 6 people. She's not coming." The group starts moving forward. An 18-year-old sultry woman remarks, "She's always been this mysterious. We're used to it. Let's not waste any more time." The team heads toward their destination, completely unaware that Feng Yai is sitting some distance away, quietly observing them. Watching their spiritual power, he thinks to himself, "Seems like my cousin's team is pretty low-key. The weakest among them is at the 2-star Ghost Axe realm. And that guy who spoke earlier is even at 3-star. From what they said, there's also a powerful member who rarely shows up. And on the mountain above this influencer town." He then turns his gaze toward an area where an anomaly is occurring. A massive vine descending from the sky. Just like the beanstalk from the fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk, the vine appears randomly around Yonghua town at unpredictable times. This contradicts previously known information. It's beyond our understanding. It's clearly a world shift, but it's not related to weather or land structure collapse. It's an anomaly that appeared out of nowhere, drifting around, causing no damage. It doesn't release thunder or blazing light. It just floats silently, facing in and out. Meanwhile, Lin Yai's team has reached the area. Seeing the strange sight, everyone looks a bit unsettled. "My God. That's it. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it," 18-year-old sultry woman says, fear in her voice. From behind, Scammed in online romance for 50 cents speaks nervously. "Wait, maybe we shouldn't go any further." Lin Yi turns to her. "Why do you say that?" The girl swallows hard, and answers, "Only after seeing it for real did I feel something was off. My whole body has gone cold. Did you guys see the rumors on the internal forums? I know someone from that team. When the vine appeared last time, they tried to make contact with it. They were much stronger pioneers than me, not low level by any means. But after coming here, they all went missing." Feeling the corrupted energy in the air, her face turns pale. She clutches her head in fear. "I can feel it. If we go closer, we'll end up just like them. Not even bones left to bury." Scammed in online romance for 50 cents could feel the corrupt energy from the vine surrounding her, and she began speaking frantically. "I originally thought I could handle the pioneer's gamble, return with a fortune or die trying. But the moment I saw that thing, I felt instinctive fear. My intuition tells me this is a very high-level world anomaly, a new, unknown, and powerful mutation. I'm not ready to bury everything here. I want to withdraw." Seeing her in such a state, her teammates grew a bit more serious. Lin Ye then spoke up. "Yes, you're right. We can feel it, too. Within this wood-type vine, there's a sense of desolation. I can't describe it. It's like it's been submerged in the river of time where all life has perished and vitality is gone. That's why we feel so deeply uneasy and unwell. It's like it's trying to devour our life force." After saying this, Lin Yi took her hand and added, "But this is the path of martial pioneers." Meanwhile, far away, hidden from their sight on the mountains, Fang Yi could also feel the suffocating, deathly aura. "Out of all the world anomalies I've seen, aside from the dark attribute anomaly, this vine gives the most unpleasant feeling. And they actually decided to cultivate here. That takes serious courage. Clearly, it's a plant, normally a symbol of vitality, yet it feels lifeless. It doesn't feel alive. It's more like a dead thing disguised as living, devoid of spiritual energy." Back below, Lin Ye addressed her team to keep their morale up. "Friends, we don't have much time to hesitate. Since it's dangerous, let's just sense the energy around this area. Stay within visual range. Don't wander too far." Following her lead, everyone picked their spots and began cultivating, thinking it should be relatively safe this way. Lin Ye herself sat atop a tree branch and began her own cultivation. From a distance, Fang Ye watched his cousin and commented to himself, "Not bad. They're cautious, cultivating at a safe but efficient distance." As expected of a top student, she calculated the optimal benefit range, neither reckless nor timid. Before long, Lin Ye's energy began to surge, sending a powerful wave upward into the sky. Fang Ye noticed immediately, she's about to break through. She's already close to 3-star. My cousin really is a genius. Down below, her teammates were also excited. "This is the 3-star Ghost Axe realm," one of them exclaimed. But just as they were talking, the vine's roots started moving toward them. The boy they had been following shouted urgently, This is bad, the vine is coming straight at us. It sensed us from this far away. 18-year-old sultry woman gasped in fear. In moments, the vine lashed out, grabbing some of the team members and absorbing their energy. Everyone panicked and started running. Scammed in online romance for 50 cents screamed, "Run! Run as fast as you can. If we don't, we're dead." Ye's breakthrough caused too much of a disturbance. We must not get entangled by the vine. Once it wraps around us, the desolate aura will consume us instantly. We'll melt on the spot. The vine had already reached Lin Ye, striking her protective shield. Cracks began to spread across the energy barrier. While everyone else was running, 18-year-old sultry woman grabbed the hand of scammed in online romance for 50 cents. "No, we can't run. If we do, he will be in danger." Scammed in online romance for 50 cents snapped back. "Then what do you want me to do? Use my spiritual energy to protect her. She chose to cultivate here, so now she gets to level up while I die for her." The 18-year-old sultry woman adored her anger and turned to the group. "Everyone, calm down." The boy who seemed to be leading them spoke coldly. "Life and death are fated. Wealth is heaven's will. If we don't leave now, we'll all die with her. You're too young. Don't act on emotion. We're all just acquaintances here." Before he could finish, 18-year-old sultry woman slapped him hard across the face. "Then to hell with you all. I won't abandon my comrade." With that, she charged toward Lin Yi while the rest of the group fled in the opposite direction. Up in the mountains, Fang Yi was watching the entire scene unfold, his eyes filled with urgency. He said with deep concern, "My cousin probably doesn't even realize the danger she's in right now. Still just a student. This vine's power is overwhelming. I don't even know if I can save her with my current strength. But there's not much time left." Fang Yi drew out his sword, determination blazing in his eyes, and readied himself for the fight. His thoughts were firm. "I promised Aunt that I would take care of my cousin. The promise I made must not be broken." Meanwhile, the sultry woman was rushing forward to save Lin Ye. She was destroying the vine as she advanced. But within moments, the vine coiled around her too. At the same time, the vine had completely shattered Lin Ye's shield. And just as it was about to catch her, at that very moment, Fang Ye leaped in with his heavy sword infused with blazing yang energy and struck directly at the vine. The vine began to burn from the force of his yang energy, retreating rapidly and halting its attack. The two team members who had been running away stopped in their tracks, stunned as they saw the vine retreating. The hero's yang energy was so incredibly powerful that the entire area began to glow with his radiance. Seeing his energy, the team members were astonished. The boy who had been fleeing earlier exclaimed in disbelief, "Is this another pioneer?" The sultry woman shielded her eyes from the blinding light and thought with awe, "That's the purest yang attribute. It makes sense only such a high-tier attribute could force back this desolate vine." The same boy, still staring in shock, began to think to himself, "I consider myself extremely talented. I reached the 3-star Ghost X realm in a very short time. There are probably only a handful in the entire country with such speed. Lin Ye's talent barely matches mine. But still, if there are pioneers like that out there, then what are we? Are we just stars dimly shining beneath a radiant moon? He crushed me. He crushed all of us. Just what kind of existence is he?" Meanwhile, Fang Yi was still standing in that spot when a system notification suddenly appeared before him. Detected extreme wood attribute. Initiating auto-writing. Moments later, another message appeared. Complete. After that, wood energy began flowing through Fang Yi's body, filling him with life force. He felt the energy invigorating him, and a joyful smile spread across his face as he exclaimed in admiration, "What an incredible wood attribute technique. As long as there's life nearby, this is basically a perpetual energy absorbing engine." Lin Yi, along with her teammates, had gone to a region filled with the wood attribute to cultivate. There, a massive vine stretched from the ground up into the sky. While they were cultivating, the vine suddenly attacked them. In that moment, Lin Yi, who was deeply immersed in cultivation and had lost awareness of her surroundings, was left behind while the others fled in panic. Just then, Fang Yi arrived. Without hesitation, he attacked the vine and destroyed it completely. Instantly, he began to absorb the corrupt energy of the wood attribute from the area. As he did this, the system sent him continuous messages showing that the attribute was being extracted. Very soon, the wood attribute had been added to him. But that wasn't all. The notifications continued to flash before his eyes. Currently extracting attribute, desolation attribute. Can instantly unleash desolate aura, corroding all surrounding life force. As soon as Fang Yi fully absorbed this attribute, he gained the terrifying ability to destroy all surrounding life. Around him, a powerful green aura tied to the wood element erupted, pulsing with immense vitality and menace. Feeling this, Fang Yi thought to himself, no wonder this vine could only grow in such a treacherous terrain. If it had grown elsewhere, it might have drained the life from dozens of miles around. This tessellation attribute is just too tyrannical, forcefully seeing another's life force. While he was lost in these thoughts, 18-year-old sultry woman hurried over and spoke emotionally, her voice filled with gratitude. Thank you so much for saving us, big brother. If it weren't for you, we would have surely died. How can we ever repay you? Hearing her words, Fang Yi simply waved his hand with a calm expression and replied, no need for now. I'll take my leave. With that, he turned to go. As he walked away, he thought, I'd basically piggybacked on their intel to come here and obtain endless vitality and the desolation attribute. Come to think of it, I was the one who profited the most. As for the earlier conflict between those people, it's better to pay more attention to my cousin's movements from now on. Everyone silently watched as Fang Yi departed. The tension on their faces showed the fear and awe they felt. Fang Yi leaped away, his mind clear. When faced with danger, people reveal their true nature. A scattered, disorganized team is not safe during an upcoming major shift. After his departure, scammed in online romance for 50 cents turned to the team captain and asked nervously, he left so quickly. What should we do now? The captain sighed, his expression complicated, and said, what's the matter? Are you regretting not helping earlier? Now that the threat is gone, Lin Yi has advanced to the 3rd level. Our best option is to stay in this team for as long as we can. As he spoke, his eyes drifted toward Lin Yi, who was still immersed in her cultivation, completely unaware of what had just happened. A faint shield of aura surrounded her. Though slightly cracked, it had not completely broken. Finally, her breakthrough reached completion. As Lin Yi opened her eyes, the energy around her surged. Seeing her awaken, 18-year-old sultry woman rushed over joyfully and exclaimed, Lin Yi, you finally woke up. The captain glanced at Lin Yi, then turned to scammed in online romance for 50 cents and spoke in a low, calculating voice. Now it all depends. If she's rational enough, she won't force a falling out with us. Instead of worrying about that, we should focus on that mysterious man. Lin Yi blinked in confusion as she looked at the scene before her. Shocked, she asked what happened here. Her gaze fell upon 2 teammates lying lifeless on the ground. Stunned, she demanded, what about them? What happened to them? And how did so many vines suddenly appear here? Even as she asked, an overwhelming wave of powerful yang energy surged from behind her. She could feel its scorching intensity even from this distance. At that moment, the team captain stepped forward and said, let me explain what happened. He then began to recount everything that had unfolded. After this incident, Lin Yi returned home. On the way, her mind kept circling the captain's words. He had told her about a powerful cultivator who had saved their lives. Throughout the journey, Lin Yi wondered, could someone truly exist with such overwhelming strength? The captain had even said the man was practically a monster. When he had been explaining, he mentioned that the very same vine that had attacked them was now retreating in fear. At that time, the captain had said with awe, the vine is now curled far away in the sky, completely avoiding us. That's the deterrent left behind by that man. Even though he's gone, the vine is as meek as a chicken. No trace of its earlier rage. Still thinking about this, Lin Yi entered her building. As soon as she opened the door and stepped inside, Fang Yi greeted her with a smile. You're back, he said warmly. Noticing the faint sadness and paleness on her face, he asked with concern, you look a little pale. Are you okay? Lin Yi quickly made up an excuse, replying softly, I'm just a bit tired from studying. Hearing that, Fang Yi encouraged her gently. You're really putting in the effort. Go rest. Should we order some take-up tonight? Lin Yi nodded in agreement, and headed to her room. Once inside, she closed the door, finally letting out a breath of relief. She thought to herself, breakthroughs are mentally exhausting. Every time I channel spiritual energy to wield the divine axe, it takes total concentration. It's even more exhausting than pulling all nighters for a month. Lying on her bed, she picked up her phone. Good thing I am no longer a regular person. Pulling a few all-nighters won't kill me. But such is the fate of pioneers. The world has already begun to change. A normal life like my cousin's is no longer possible for me. Meanwhile, Fang Yi had already left the building. Inside her room, Lin Yi continued scrolling through her phone until a particular chat shocked her. A message from someone named Jia Lan appeared. If any trace of that powerhouse appears again, notify me immediately. Lin Yi froze, surprised. This was the first time she had ever seen Jia Lan speak in this group. She quickly typed a reply, "Got it, GLN. By the way, I have a question." She hesitated briefly, then continued typing. "Do you think the person who saved us could be the same one who became famous at the Dark River Molten Dragon site? If it really was that senior, why would he save us?" After sending the message, she returned to browsing other cultivation news where shocking headlines flashed before her eyes. Breaking news, the high-tier Yum attribute god returns. That slash pierced the sun itself. Heaven's light was devoured by that sea of white light. Azot back in the pollution zone. Dark River Molten Dragon. That burst of blazing white light forced us out of the cave. I swear no pioneer in the Shia country of the same tier could withstand that blow. Reading these articles, Lin Yai was left completely stunned. Meanwhile, Fang Yi stepped out of the building, picked up his bicycle, and started riding. As he paddled, his thoughts churned. Alright. Now, Lin Yi will likely lower her guard around me even more. I won't be suspected of observing her when she goes out. Now's the time to figure out how to carry the desolation attribute. His mind focused sharply, as he considered. The desolation attribute leans closer to plant, bipentities, but after all, it's a sinister attribute. Its nature is corrosive. Putting it directly in my body might have negative effects. Besides, it may conflict with the thunder attribute in my hand. He thought back to the vine. So, the best approach is to use something like that strange ghost vine. The reason the vine dropped from the sky was that it sensed the dense spiritual energy revival. It chose to evolve on its own, and that's what gave birth to the desolation attribute. Thinking this through, a smile spread across his face. I know exactly where I need to go. With that, he pedaled faster, speeding through the streets, until he arrived at the city's forest park. Entering with a laugh, he whispered to himself, I need to choose a plant that resonates most with my spiritual energy, and expresses intimacy to be the lucky one. At once, he released his wood attribute aura. A glowing green light burst forth from within him, radiating outwards. The aura attracted the small flowers, plants, and trees in the park, pulling them toward him as if drawn by a powerful magnet. The plants began reacting strangely, swaying and leaning toward him, eager for more of his energy. Seeing this, our hero, Fang Ye, thought, is this the response of plants to spiritual energy? It's intense, but still not enough. Determined, he decided to push further. He poured out even more power. Just then, his eyes caught sight of a small flower in the grass, glowing brighter than the rest after receiving his energy. Intrigued, he walked closer. Could it be? Is this the one I'm searching for? Reaching out, he gently touched the flower with his finger. To his surprise, the little flower curled around his fingertip as if holding on. Shocked, he thought, it has spiritual potential. This wildflower is clearly just a plant, but the way it reacts to spiritual energy, it's like a greedy puppy. After absorbing the energy, it even came over to nuzzle my fingers. Pressing the flower softly, he whispered with satisfaction, in this entire forest, you're the one with the strongest response to my spiritual energy. The perfect candidate for embedding the desolation attribute. He then asked the flower with a smile, I'm ready. Are you ready? The flower swayed up and down as if giving him a signal of agreement. Fang Yi closed his eyes, channeling his energy into the flower. Immediately, a crisp notification rang out from the system, desolation attribute into this object. Without hesitation, Fang Yi answered, yes. Fang Yi started infusing his wood attribute, power, into the tiny flower. The moment his power entered it, the little flower lit up brilliantly. A surge of powerful energy burst out from the small flower. As the glow gradually faded, what had once been a fragile little flower had now evolved. Numerous leaves sprouted around it. Its size had grown, and it now appeared far more powerful, releasing attribute power all around. But during this evolution, the small flower had turned the entire garden into a wasteland. It had absorbed all the surrounding energy. The once lush green trees nearby had now begun to wither away. Sensing this terrifying power, Fang Yi exclaimed in shock, such a strong power of desolation, just like the hand of a demon. In only 3 seconds, it has almost drained an entire ring of the city's forest. This is too overbearing, and it's still spreading madly. After this, he moved forward, intending to uproot the flower, but then hesitated, muttering, forget it. If it continue any further, it might attract people from the Spirit Energy Association. After all, this place is located in the very center of the city. There's no way they won't be monitoring this area. Since the revival of spiritual energy, these plants have all become unstable. When I entered the garden earlier, I did notice far more surveillance cameras than before, and the place was strangely deserted with no visitors at all. Fang Ye then decisively uprooted the flower. But even after being pulled from the soil, Its roots were still absorbing the energy of the surrounding trees. Seeing this, Fang Ye's eyes whitened as he muttered, "Health. It still hasn't stopped absorbing. Can it survive even without root connections?" He then gently caressed its leaves, smiling faintly as he continued. "But compared to just now when it was recklessly devouring everything, this absorption feels much gentler. Incredible. Even after being removed from the soil, its spirituality hasn't weakened at all. Before I chose it, it was nothing more than an ordinary wildflower. Could it be that after being infused with an attribute, this plant has also begun to evolve? As if some kind of evolutionary shackle has been unlocked." Just then, a blinding light flared up in the area, accompanied by a loud alarm. "Abnormal value exceeded. Warning, abnormal value exceeded." Hearing that, Fang Ye's expression changed instantly. He clenched his teeth and muttered, "Damn, did I still trigger the surveillance? I need to get out of here as quickly as possible." Without wasting another second, he bolted from the area at full speed. The abnormal activity caused by Fang Ye had already been reported to the Ricky Plant Research Department. Their entire research room had gone into a red alert, and all the members gathered at once. Someone rushed in, shouting in panic, "The abnormal values are skyrocketing. What on earth happened?" The room fell silent for a moment, and then one of the members stood up and commanded firmly, "Everyone put on your wristbands and immediately head to the park. Seal it off. No outsiders are allowed to enter." Without wasting any time, the entire research team set off toward the park. Each one of them wore protective suits to shield themselves from the abnormal energy. The moment they arrived, one of the members tested the energy readings, and his face turned pale as he exclaimed, "This is terrifying." Earlier at King Chang's North Gate, the values only fluctuated between 810. The Dark River Molten Dragon was at 25, but here another quickly added, his voice tense. "Exactly. Once the spiritual energy concentration surpasses 10, the military usually takes over. But this park's concentration never even came close to 10 before." Each member held a special measuring device. One of them inserted a probe into the ground, checking the data, and reported with confusion, "Strange. Look at this. The air humidity, ground moisture, and temperature are all perfectly normal. Sunlight radiation levels are fine, too. But these plants, it's as if their life force has been completely drained within just a few seconds." The team members exchanged uneasy glances, shock flickering across their faces. One of them asked in disbelief, "What kind of attribute power could cause something like this? I feel like we need to move a little further ahead. That must be the center of it all." Just then, another man rushed over, his face pale with fear, and shouted loudly, "Don't go any closer. Don't touch it. This is the desolation attribute." His words sent ripples of fear across the entire team. One of the members stammered in shock. "Desolation attribute? What is that supposed to mean?" The old man among them stepped forward and asked solemnly, "You all have heard of the vines that hang down from the sky, haven't you?" The moment he said that, everyone froze in place. Their expressions stiffened, and fear spread through their eyes. One of them muttered, "You don't mean that demonic vine, the one that has already been classified as an S-level mutation?" The old man nodded gravely and continued, "Yes, because of its extreme danger. It was classified as level. The reason it's so deadly, the reason countless explorers perished with nothing left but bones, ultimately lies in this desolation attribute. It drains the life force of every living thing around it and claims everything as its own. That is the terrifying power it holds." As his words sank in, the entire group shuddered, fear spreading like wildfire through them. One younger member turned pale, his voice trembling as he asked, "Teacher, just now, if you hadn't stopped me, does that mean if I had taken one more step forward, I would already be dead?" The old man's expression hardened as he explained, "Yes. Once a plant awakens the desolation attribute, the area around it becomes a death domain. Anyone who sets foot inside will have their life force completely consumed. I've seen the records of another desolation plant before, located in Kang City's forbidden ancient tree zone. The decayed ancient tree corrupted the entire forest into a forbidden land. Any living creature that approaches is instantly pierced through and drained." Saying this, the old man fell into a tense silence, muttering to himself with a heavy expression, "In these times of great upheaval, mutations cannot be underestimated. As far as plants are concerned, the desolation attribute is currently recognized as the most powerful attribute they can awaken. Other than the ancient tree and those sky vines, now yet another newly born desolation plant has appeared." At that very moment, someone else stepped forward from behind, placing a hand on the old man's shoulder, and said in a low, serious voice, "I've heard about this situation before." Hearing that voice from behind, The old man turned around in surprise, and there stood a military general. His eyes widened as he exclaimed, "Major Han." Major Han stepped forward, his expression cold and authoritative, and ordered, "All researchers present, change into protective suits and follow us into the contaminated zone." As he spoke, some soldiers brought in masks and protective clothing. The military personnel quickly suited up and began searching the entire area. One soldier scanned in one direction and reported, "No trace of the desolation source detected here." Another, checking a different direction, muttered anxiously, "Weren't we told only that Vine could move freely everywhere? Could it be?" The team continued searching every corner of the zone. Suddenly, someone called out, "The desolation aura is decreasing. We've only been inside the forest for 5 minutes, and the concentration has already dropped to 25. Meanwhile, Major Hun was seen with Su Qingjian. Unlike the others, neither of them wore protective suits. Major Hun glanced at Su Qingjian and said calmly, "Come on, let's explore as well." Su Qingjian nodded seriously. The two of them sat down on the ground, placing their palms flat against the soil, and released their spiritual power into it. The moment their spiritual energy spread underground, it flowed straight toward one particular area, the exact spot where the abnormal activity had peaked. But the energy stopped precisely at the location where Fang Yi had uprooted and taken away the plant. Detecting this, both Han and Su Qingjian went rigid, their faces filled with shock. Su Qingjian's voice trembled as she said tensely, "That area." That's before she could finish, General Han interrupted, his voice heavy and grave. Someone dug out the abnormal source. One of the members overheard and stammered in disbelief, fear spreading across his face. Someone dug it out. How is that even possible? Han's eyes narrowed, his tone turning serious. If someone truly has the ability to dig out the source of desolation from a death zone, then that person's identity is worth investigating. Su Qingjian, equally tense, listened carefully and then replied softly, "Captain Han, I know what you're thinking, but there are no traces of that powerhouse's spiritual energy left on the scene, not even tools." Han immediately checked the device in his hand. His eyes sharpened as the scanner's results appeared. With a deep, steady voice, he said, "Based on big data screening and analysis, we've identified this person's profile. His movements perfectly match the two abnormal event locations." The image on the device lit up, showing the face of Fang Yi. The moment Su Qingjian's eyes fell on the image, she stiffened, her heart skipping a beat. Han continued in a serious tone, "I'll send all his information to you. This man is very likely the same pioneer you came into contact with before." Su Qingjian stood there silently, staring at Fang Yi's picture on the device. After a long moment, she finally spoke in a calm but firm voice. "Good. That's how it should be." 2 hours later, the story shifted. Fang Yi had already placed the flower into a pot, setting it carefully on his table. Stroking its leaves with a smile, he chuckled and said, "My first time raising a flower. How could I possibly leave you without a flower pot? This is the little home you picked for yourself. No more wrapping yourself around my hand. You've now gained the desolation attribute, and you'll continue cultivating on your own. That makes you one of my most reliable helpers." He decided to name the flower Cute Little White Flower. Looking at it fondly, he thought to himself, the desolation attribute is special. It can definitely help a lot in battle, maybe even produce unexpected effects. And it's perfect that you look so ordinary. If Lin Ye happens to see you, it won't easily raise her suspicion. In combat, an ordinary appearance is the best disguise. His expression turned serious as he muttered, "In real battles, raw strength is only part of the equation. What matters more is who has more hidden cards to play." Just then, his phone began ringing. Glancing at the screen, he read the caller ID and froze in surprise. "Old Wing. Isn't that my childhood buddy who went off to the military? I haven't seen him in 3 years." Memories flashed in his mind. Old Wang, full name Wang Leon, was my neighbor. From elementary school all the way through middle school, we were deskmates. We could have even continued into high school together, but that rascal suddenly decided to enlist in the army. Smiling at the memory, he picked up the call and laughed. "So, you're finally back." On the other end, his friend's cheerful voice rang out as he chuckled, "Let's meet at the old place." Hearing this, Fang Yi raised an eyebrow and asked, "So suddenly? What's the occasion?" Old Wang laughed and said mysteriously, "Yeah, I've got a big secret to tell you. When you hear it, don't faint from shock." With that, the call was cut off. Fang Yi placed the phone back on the table, unaware of what was really going on. At that very moment, standing in front of Old Wang, was Su Qingjian and several military officers. After ending the call, Old Wang stood at attention and reporting, "Sir, I've done exactly as you instructed. But I request, If he isn't the one we're looking for, can you guarantee his safety? Then the military officer sitting right beside Su Kingjin spoke up in a serious tone, saying, carry out your mission properly and don't get involved in unnecessary matters. If he isn't that person, then just treat it as a friend giving him some advice. Fang Yi arrived at the place where his friend had asked him to come, and as soon as he got there, they were doing exactly what they had talked about on the phone. Both of them were drinking. His friend was drinking continuously. Seeing this, Fang Yi thought to himself, looking at Wan Lan like this, life in the army must have been pretty tough. This goofy Wan Lan has actually matured so much. Just then, Wan Lan, after drinking and becoming slightly tipsy, spoke in a simple, heartfelt way to Fang Yi. These past 3 years, I've felt a lot. Life in the army sigh. Then he asked, what about you? Tell me, how are you? What are you doing now? Hearing this, Fang Yi replied that everything was going well for him too. He had gotten admission into junior college, which wasn't bad at all. He said this with a smile, but at the same time, he started recalling his past life. Speaking of which, in my previous life, I never had the chance to see Wan Lan again. In the chaos of war, forget about getting any news. Being a soldier, he most likely sacrificed his life at some unknown moment, in some nameless battle. This time, can I perhaps change my old friend's future? At that moment, Wan Lan suddenly became a little serious and said, what I want to ask is, recently, have you come across anything strange? Like something out of a movie? Zombies, monsters, that sort of thing. Hearing this, Fang Yi placed his glass of alcohol on the table and began to think, makes sense. For someone in the military, knowing about the spiritual energy revival isn't strange. But is he probing me with this question? With that thought, he asked seriously, what are you trying to say? I don't quite understand. Wan Lan then placed his hand on his forehead, and in a tense tone said, it's good if you haven't. Actually, the reason I came today was to tell you a couple of things. I'm not trying to comfort you, but rather to remind you that in the near future, maybe just a few months from now, maybe a year, what we value today, like education and wealth, will become nothing but worthless scraps of paper. Everything will be reshuffled from the beginning. Hearing those words, Fang Yi started thinking seriously. Ordinary soldiery must be ordered to keep secrets, forced to sign agreements that restrict them, not allowing them to reveal even the slightest bit about the revival of spiritual energy. So that means I've already been marked as a target of suspicion by the military, and my traces have been detected. And because Wan Lan is my childhood friend, he's the one they sent to test me. Wan Lan then said, don't worry. Everything I told you today, so long as you don't reveal a word of it, there won't be any problem. But Fang Yi was still lost in thought. Even though I pretended to be clueless and uncooperative, Wan Lan still went out of his way, even at the risk of violating military discipline, to kindly warn me, to tell me to be careful of mutations. At that very moment, Wan Lan's phone began to ring. He looked at the caller ID and quickly picked it up. On the other side, a loud and urgent voice shouted, Wan Lan, get back within 10 minutes, this is urgent. Hurry back to the target location immediately. And then the call was cut. Wan Lan quickly shoved his phone into his pocket, stood up from the table, and while rushing out, said to Fang Yi, brother, the mission is urgent. I can't help it. You go back quickly. I can't send you off. Seeing him in such a rush, Fang Yi asked seriously, is this related to the revival of spiritual energy? As soon as Wan Lan heard this, he turned back, staring tensely and in shock at Fang Yi. But then Fang Yi stepped forward, placed his hand on Wan Lan's shoulder, and with a smile said, take me with you. This meeting today, wasn't it also under your superior's instructions? Don't worry. Even though I don't know exactly what information your higher-ups gave you, I do know one thing, you would never harm me. As he said this, he thought to himself, besides, I really want to know what the military is handling. It must be related to the great changes in heaven and earth. But since the Spirit Energy Association already exists to deal with abnormalities, then what exactly does the military in charge of? This is the perfect chance for me to test the waters. After this, the story shifts to Military Spirit Energy Forbidden Zone 19, where Fang Yi has already arrived with Wan Lan. As they entered, thoughts continued to swirl in Fang Yi's mind. Here's such dense spirit energy. This level of concentration even surpasses a polluted field, doesn't it? As soon as Wan Lan walked in with Fang Yi, he showed some identification cards. There were already several military personnel present. The moment they checked Wan Lan's card, they said, Wan Lan has returned to the team. Verification passed. Then they signaled for Wan Lan to proceed. Wan Lan moved forward. But just as he crossed the area, A sudden explosion shook the ground. The entire zone filled with thick smoke. As the dust slowly cleared, a beast appeared. One that the military troops stationed here were already engaged in battle with. Many soldiers were attacking the beast together, unleashing everything they had. But this beast was no ordinary enemy. Seeing so many humans, it roared and retaliated, launching laser-like attacks from its mouth. Fang Yi's eyes widened in shock, and in a voice filled with disbelief, he exclaimed, "Is this a fusion attribute?" At that very moment, a woman appeared in the scene. The same officer who had interrogated Wan Liang earlier and sent him to Fang Yi to confirm his identity. She was Officer Jielin, a Ghost Axe Realm 3-star. Fang Yi was standing right next to her. Hearing his words, Jielin replied seriously, her voice sharp and commanding. "Correct. An abnormal fusion of darkness and flame attributes. That's what turned this beast into such a ferocious and brutal monster. Several soldiers have already been severely injured." Just then, Wan Liang arrived, pounding his chest hard as if giving a salute, and declared, "I've arrived." Seeing him, Jielin's expression twisted with anger. She scolded him harshly, "Without permission, you brought an unrelated civilian into the restricted zone." Wan Liang didn't respond much, only looking slightly tense under her gaze. Jielin, realizing the urgency, didn't pursue the matter further. She spoke curtly, "Never mind. This is an emergency situation. You are the only one missing. Hurry up, and take your position in the formation." Saying this, she turned her sharp eyes on Fang Yi. "So, this is Fang Yi. I don't see anything special about him. The spirit energy around his body is only slightly active. Could it be that he's not the one? But now isn't the time to think about it." Then she addressed him seriously, "Since you are Wan Liang's friend, I won't say more. But this is a forbidden zone. The moment you stepped inside, your life and death became your own responsibility, and whatever you see here must remain a secret." Fang Yi nodded and agreed calmly, "All right." Then Jielin began calling out the names of several soldiers present, ordering them into formation, and commanding them to attack. 2 soldiers stepped forward, and unleashed spiritual power attacks on the beast. Their energy slammed into the monster, and soon after, Jielin herself opened fire with her gun. 3 to 4 bullets struck the beast consecutively, making it howl in rage. The attacks drove it into a frenzy. Its eyes burned with hatred, and it let out an earth-shaking roar. Some soldiers, shaken with fear, shouted, "It's mutating further. It's evolving into an even more dangerous form." The beast suddenly lunged, its claws tearing through the air as it charged toward one of the soldiers. Another comrade cried out in alarm, "Liu Yu, watch out. It's right next to you." But before the beast could strike, 3 to 4 powerful bullets hit it squarely. Jielin had fired again. She shouted sharply to her troops, "Don't be careless, keep your distance from it. Eliminate it before it completes its evolution." Fang Yi stood calmly, watching the battle. A faint smile played on his lips as he thought to himself, a well-trained squad. Comrades who trust each other, unmatched discipline and coordination. Every single person here is indispensable. Together, they can unleash a strength far greater than the sum of their individual powers. But suddenly his face darkened. His voice turned urgent as he shouted, "Everyone run, you can't fight this thing." Yet it was already too late. From where the mutated beast stood, a wave of terrifying purple energy burst forth, spreading quickly to envelop the surrounding area. Jielin's expression instantly grew tense, and she shouted in alarm, "Raise the alert, increase the Forbidden Zone mutation level. Everyone, no retreat allowed." The beast had now fully mutated. Standing before it was Wan Liang, frozen in place by the overwhelming pressure. From a distance, Jielin called out in warning, "Be careful, the Hellhound has fully fused with the darkness attribute and has completed its evolution." Fang Yi's heart clenched. His friend Wan Liang stood trembling in terror, unable to move. Jielin, realizing his danger, cried out his name, urging him to retreat. But Wan Liang remained rooted in place, paralyzed by fear. Fang Yi's expression hardened, fury welling up within him. With a surge of determination, he activated his lightning attribute, energy crackling violently around him. But the beast was already upon Wan Liang. It swung its massive claws, aiming to strike him down. Wan Liang barely managed to dodge, stumbling back a few steps. Jielin's voice rang out across the battlefield, "Attention all units, the Class C mutated Hellhound in Zone 19 has fully evolved. It is now classified as Class B. Update the battle plan immediately." Just then, Wan Liang's body was hurled through the air by the beast's attack, crashing heavily to the ground near Fang Yi. Fang Yi rushed to his side, worry written all over his face. Wan Liang was in bad shape, coughing blood violently. "Are you okay?" Fang Yi asked urgently. Through painful breaths, Wang Liang forced out his words. No. It's nothing, I just added spirit energy to reinforce its restraining collar. Don't worry about me, we. The collective soldiers of Forbidden Zone 19 seeing his friend like this. Fang Yi's eyes blazed with fury. His body trembled with rage. Meanwhile, Jielin shouted to her soldiers with steely resolve, everyone, no matter what tactics or methods you use, even if it costs us our lives. But before she could finish, Fang Yi darted past her at full speed. His body blurred as he charged straight toward the beast. Jielin's eyes widened in shock as she yelled after him, "What do you think you're doing?" But he ignored her, closing the distance to the beast in a flash. Sparks of lightning surged wildly around his hands as he readied himself for a decisive attack. Seeing his friend injured, Fang Yi could no longer hold back his rage. Channeling his lightning attribute agility, he dashed forward like a wild beast. His eyes blazed with fury as he glared at the monster before him. "You're far too arrogant," he growled. "It'll feel good to shatter that pride of yours." The beast roared back, eyes filled with fury, and slashed at him with its claws. But Fang Yi was ready. Lightning bolts danced between his fingers as he dodged and closed in. Preparing to unleash his divine thunder, he struck the beast's head directly with full force. The creature howled in agony, crashing violently into the ground. The impact shattered the earth, raising a storm of dust, and shaking the battlefield so violently that even the others struggled to stay on their feet. A stunned military fighter gasped, "I wasn't wrong, right? This is a B-level mutation that even Officer Jielin couldn't handle alone." Not far away, Jielin stood beside Wang Liang. Shocked by the overwhelming display of power, Wang Liang muttered, "Officer, don't tell me my brother is actually..." Before he could finish, Jielin, her voice tight with tension, interrupted. "Yes. None of us saw wrong. He truly is the tyrant we've been searching for." On the ground, the beast lay broken, barely able to move. Still, it tried to stand, only to meet the cold gaze of Fang Yi. "Still not completely dead. Then I guess we'll do it this way. Officer, old wine. Both of you fall back." Jielin, watching from a distance, felt her heart tighten. For a B-level mutation, would normally need a full formation and coordinated sacrifice. All alone. What kind of power is this? I have to admit, this is the pinnacle of the thunder attribute. Even in today's Xia kingdom, this stands at the very top. If spiritual energy fully revives, how terrifying could he become? Keeping her eyes fixed on him, she watched as our hero, Fang Yi, raise his hand. The skies above twisted into a whirling vortex, thunder growling within the storm. Lightning tore through the heavens and struck down upon the beast with devastating force. Jilan's chest tightened with dread. He truly lives up to the title of tyrant. That name suits him perfectly. The beast was annihilated under the storm of lightning. Fang Yi turned back toward the military fighters, his expression calm. One soldier muttered, shivering, "Damn, my neck's cold just watching, and my head's buzzing." Another, trembling, added, "Why does this thunder attribute feel 100 times scarier than darkness? I could maybe withstand corrosion, but lightning? No way." As the hero walked forward, Wang Liang rushed over to him, relief flooding his face. Fang Yi gave him a thumbs up. "Wang Liang, I did it." From a distance, Wang Liang laughed. "You bastard. You scared me half to death." Rushing up close, he slapped the hero in joy. "I never imagined my big brother would be this much of a monster." The hero smirked at his antics. "Oh, I helped you out, and you hit me." Embarrassed, Wang Liang scratched his head. "Sorry, I actually suspected you were a pioneer. Military orders are absolute, and I had to bring you in." Fang Yi placed a hand on his shoulder. "What? After 3 years, you're acting like a stranger. You think I don't know you?" As the two were talking, Jilan appeared behind them. Fang Yi turned to see her, and she extended her hand toward him. "Fang Yi, thank you for your help," she said. Fang Yi smiled, and shook her hand. "No need. Just think of it as saving a friend." Hearing this, Jilan replied, "I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Jilan, in charge of guarding Restricted Zone 19. He saved Zone 19. I hope we can exchange contact info. I need to make a full report." Fang Yi nodded, but standing beside him, Wang Liang had a wide smile on his face. Watching a senior officer salute his childhood friend was an incredible sight. Jilan continued seriously, "Fang Yi, your strength surpasses many pioneers specially recruited by the army. Therefore, I sincerely want to invite you to join the ranks of the Xia Kingdom's military. But an invitation from a mere guard of a restricted zone might not be worthy enough." Inwardly, she thought, what's even more shocking is that his cultivation should only be at the 3rd star of the ghost carving realm. Yet, he's already reached No, far surpassed the level of a spirit creation realm master. Fang Yi asked seriously, Officer Ji, are you saying you don't feel qualified to invite me? Ji Lan nodded firmly. Yes, I believe there's nothing wrong or shameful about that. We're following orders from above. We only wanted to understand you, not drag you into this mutation incident. I think they'll come to invite you personally. Hearing this, Fang Yi smiled. It's not that serious. Actually, I really respect all of you. Not everyone has the courage to sacrifice themselves to protect others. I've never seen soldiers fighting with my own eyes before. Just now. Does it? How should I put it? It moved me a little. Ji Lan gave him a soft thank you, and Fang Yi laughed. So if there's ever trouble in the future, feel free to call on me, just like how you all protected ordinary people like us during peaceful times. Of course on one condition. You can't interfere with my cultivation, and you can't restrict me. Ji Lan didn't press further. Fang Yi then said, it's about time I take my leave. Ji Lan nodded. All right. Wang Lan and I still need to deal with the mutant dog's corpse. I'll have someone take you back. As Fang Yi departed, he thought to himself, now I finally understand the army's role. They're stationed in spiritually rich but dangerous regions, partly to allow the army to cultivate and maintain superior combat power, and partly to draw a defensive line between anomalies and civilians. Meanwhile, Ji Lan turned to Wang Liang. Your friend can no longer be described as just not simple. What happened today is just the tip of his iceberg. But even that alone is enough to leave us in the dust. To become such a powerful pioneer so quickly means he has extraordinary perception, fate, courage, and ability. He lacks none of them. Beside her, Wang Liang chuckled and said, Officer, in that case, can't we increase our offer? If you don't think you're suitable to recruit him, then let me, his childhood friend, do it. Ji Lan pressed her hand down on his head with a smirk. All right, you brat. Come help me clean up this scene. He asked. Sir, Wang Lan replied with a grin. After that, the story shifted to Fang Yi's apartment, where he was deep in cultivation. In his mind, he reflected, although my identity was exposed this time, I didn't reveal any power other than my thunder attribute. And judging from their attitude, that might not be a bad thing. At the very least, I've learned that this thunder attribute is incredibly rare, perhaps even unique, and it counters the darkness attribute, which the military values greatly. To win me over, they won't threaten or suppress me. Instead, they'll give me influence, the fastest path to power, and access to the most advanced intel. I also now understand the difference between the military and the Spirit Awakening Association. The Night Watchers, the Blades in the Shadows, are the nation's shield, while the Spirit Awakening Association fills the gaps, sweeping up the remnants within the cities, doing their best to ensure civilians can live stable lives. For now, on one side, the government uses restricted zones to protect civilians. On the other, they signal the revival of spiritual energy, a two-pronged approach. They're also buying precious time for ordinary people so they don't get instantly destroyed by anomalies, left homeless and devastated. As he cultivated, immense amounts of spiritual energy gathered within him, concentrating in his core. Feeling the overflowing energy within his body, he smiled. As expected of a spiritually rich forbidden zone. Even after absorbing the desolation attribute, I didn't feel like I was about to break through. But just by staying here for a short while, my inner spiritual energy is overflowing. It's a sign of a breakthrough. At that very moment, Lin Yi was walking through a bustling street market carrying some groceries. She was thinking to herself, why hasn't my cousin returned yet? If he had, I would have definitely made him taste my cooking. But suddenly her eyes fell on the apartment. From it, a dazzling surge of light was erupting, the unmistakable glow of a breakthrough. Staring at it from a distance, Lin Yi was utterly shocked. That fluctuation. Someone ascending in the ghost carving realm. No, that's not right. This terrifying aura. Could it be a pioneer is about to break through to the spirit creation realm? When Fang Yi was making his breakthrough, a commotion spread around his building because a bright golden energy shot into the sky, slowly taking the shape of a giant axe. Everyone could see this astonishing sight, and Lin Yi was also watching it closely. As she stared, she noticed that the axe was undergoing subtle changes, and she was utterly shocked. It moved. Wait a second. This isn't the ghost axe realm. This powerful force. Is this the spirit creation realm? To think such a strong pioneer is right beside me. At the same time, the military forces had also detected this overwhelming force, and every one of their systems was flashing with urgent warnings. Warning, warning, abnormal value has reached 99. Abnormal value has reached 99. The spiritual energy fluctuation magnetic field is located 5 km southeast of the city. The high-ranking officers were stunned. Senior military leaders, seeing this, turned to their soldiers and ordered, "What's going on there?" Everyone moved toward the city immediately. Meanwhile, Su Qingjing was equally shocked, exclaiming, "Such a powerful anomaly. How could it have gone undetected until now? These readings. They're strong enough to destroy an entire city, because of this terrifying energy." Every military base was buzzing with discussion. Some officers, staring at the full city map, spoke in alarm. Has a new spirit creation realm pioneer appeared? Or is this city about to face a devastating disaster? Or perhaps both? In the chaos, a senior officer shouted into his phone, giving immediate orders. "Request reinforcements from headquarters at once. Bring in every advanced resource and weapon. Everything except for weapons of mass destruction." Just then, a soldier burst through the door, shouting loudly, "Major Hun, the alarm has been lifted. The anomaly has been ruled out. It's a pioneer ascending." After this, the story shifts back to Fang Yi, who had successfully achieved his breakthrough. He had stepped into the one-star spirit creation realm. Seeing this breakthrough, even he felt a little exhausted. This kind of progress. Other than my body becoming lighter, it doesn't feel like there's been a huge change. Afterwards, he pulled out his phone and started checking through it. Inside were all sorts of messages, some about past abnormal activities, others about new ones. Among them were also messages that his cousin, Lin Yi, had typed in their organization's group chat. Reading through them, Fang Yi thought to himself, Wan Wu Lian was right. This is also the reason I've always been cautious of both the military and the spiritual energy association. Being too high profile doesn't necessarily bring benefits. That's why I've kept my solar flame attribute and scarlet fire sword technique hidden. Then he sent a file message under the name Fang. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Besides, I still have a trump card left." He was reading all of this on the organization's website chat. Just then, Lin Yi opened the door to his room and said, "I'm back." She then asked him, "Cousin, have you eaten yet? I brought you some food." Hearing this, Fang Yi replied casually, "All right, just leave it there. I'll eat later." Placing the food down, Lin Yi looked at him with a bit of helplessness and thought sadly, sigh. Cousin is upright and has no bad habits. His only problem is laziness. Meanwhile, Fang Yi kept staring at his phone while Lin Yi thought to herself, all he enjoys is lying around at home. He doesn't even bother going to college. Always glued to his phone. Though whether he attends college in the future or not doesn't really matter. She glanced at him one last time before stepping out of his room. But even as she walked away, her thoughts lingered. But still, we pioneers are busy running around every day, searching for opportunities between heaven and earth, and constantly pretending in front of ordinary people. Yet cousin lives such a carefree life. She returned to her own room, lay down on her bed, and thought, in this same area, a heaven-shaking spirit creation cultivator has appeared. The pioneers who notice this anomaly will spread the news very soon. Forget it. When the time comes, I'll protect my cousin. I'll just consider it my way of repaying him for letting me stay here. Meanwhile, Fang Yi continued investigating abnormal activities on his phone. Before, it was high temperatures. This time it's a fire again, a solar attribute. From the footage, the fire started quickly and the flames rose violently. The trees and flower beds around the playground were all burned to ash, and now the area has been completely sealed off. The video is too short, cut off abruptly, but it looks much more serious than the situation at the North Gate earlier. I wonder if this time's solar attribute will be any different. I want to check it out in person, but first, I'll need to contact her. The story shifted to the next day at Kingshan University, where a crowd of media personnel had gathered and soldiers stood guard at the gates. People were whispering and speculating among themselves. One media worker asked a soldier, "I heard the university caught fire, and it can't be extinguished. Is that true?" Another immediately followed with, "Were there any casualties? Why hasn't such a big incident been broadcasted on the news?" The people nearby also started discussing heatedly the students' safety and the issue of flammable materials on campus. Just then, Fang Yi arrived with Jilan. As soon as the soldiers at the gate saw them, they quickly opened it and let the two in. The crowd watching them walk inside exchanged questions in astonishment. Who are they? They look so influential. Why can't we go in? But they can. And when the gate opened, people caught sight of the blazing fire raging inside. Fang Yi also stared at the flames in shock and muttered, "Burning like this. Is this fire from heaven?" Hearing this, Jilan nodded and said calmly, "Yes, that's the official name. There were no warnings, it suddenly erupted. It's impossible to put out. It will only stop once it devours everything at once." Isn't it fitting? Then she added, Fang Yi, I need to head to the principal's office. Will you wait here or come with me? Fang Yi replied, you go ahead. I'll stay here. Lan gave him a concerned look and warned, be careful. We'll meet again later. With that, she walked away. The area was deserted, cordoned off with barricades and warning signs. Fang Yi stepped forward cautiously, crouching down to inspect the ground, and thought to himself, the scorched earth is already cold. No traces of the heavenly fire's spiritual energy remain. Naturally, it can't be collected. I must have been thinking too simply. Suddenly, a voice called out behind him. He turned and found Chu Kingxiu standing there, looking at him in disbelief. She asked, is it really you? What are you doing here? Standing beside her was a girl with glasses who immediately pointed at him and exclaimed loudly, Kingxiu, is this the guy you told me about? The ex-boyfriend who only got into a community college. She burst into laughter, slapping Chu Kingxiu's shoulder, and continued mockingly, brother, I get it. You must still have some lingering feelings for Kingxiu. But look at reality. It's right in front of you. Give up already. Tang Yi frowned and asked coldly, lingering feelings for her. Right then, more students gathered around, murmuring in curiosity. Hey, isn't that Chu Kingxiu? Why is there a guy with her? Another whispered, not sure. Must be another pathetic pursuer chasing after our campus belle. Never seen him before. He's not from our university, right? Voices buzzed from all directions. Someone else complained, what's with campus security? Weren't they supposed to tighten surveillance? How did another outsider just stroll in? Annoying. The girl with glasses suddenly stepped closer to Fang Yi, pointing her finger right at his face as she shouted, Kingxiu is our university's campus belle. Now, I advise you to think carefully. Do you have any idea how many guys, all better than you, are chasing after her? You don't even stand a chance. Leave. This place isn't for you. Oh, and one more thing. Our campus is under lockdown. How did you even get in here? If you don't explain yourself, I'll report you to the security office. Chu Kingxiu, standing a bit farther away, listened with a conflicted expression. She thought to herself, didn't he once say he would never regret breaking up? Then why is he here now, saying one thing but doing another? Just as the glasses girl was yelling at him, Lan reappeared. She glanced at the group and asked, Fang Yi, are these your friends? Fang Yi shook his head and answered calmly, no, just high school classmates. Not friends. Lan smiled faintly, replying, I see. So just classmates, not friends. Then, narrowing her eyes, she stared coldly at Chu Kingxiu and the glasses girl. As soon as the two met her gaze, they both froze in fear, their thoughts racing. What an overwhelming presence. Who is this woman, and why does she know Fang Yi? Lan then turned back to Fang Yi and said, I just had a quick chat with the principal. The matter of the heavenly fire is more serious than we thought. It's not something that can be explained so easily. The principal wants to take us to the very first point where the fire started. Since your current identity here is as a specially invited military consultant, you'll need to go, too. Fang Yi nodded calmly. No problem. At that moment, a large group of people arrived, forming a line. A commanding voice rang out. Everyone, step back. During the period of fire lockdown, no one is allowed near the playground. The crowd turned around, and there was the university principal himself. Gasps of shock spread among the students. Chu Kingxiu's eyes widened, her face tense as she thought in disbelief. The principal is here. He's always so busy, like a dragon rarely seen. They say even the vice principals can barely get a meeting with him. And he never smiles. Not once. Could it be? Did he come here for this woman and Fang Yi? Meanwhile, the glasses girl smirked and whispered, the principal actually showed up. Maybe he's here to arrest these two intruders. But the principal walked straight up to Fang Yi, extended his hand with a respectful smile, and said, hello. You must be Advisor Fang, the one officer G recommended. Correct. Lately they've been overwhelmed with the university's unusual situation, worried the fire might endanger students. It's wonderful that you've come to resolve this. The matter of the playground. I'll be counting on you. He even bowed his head as he spoke. The security guards immediately began dispersing the crowd, urging, everyone, return to your dorms. There's nothing more to see here. Don't leave. Chu Kingxiu stood frozen, utterly shocked by the scene unfolding before her. The students nearby broke into a storm of whispers. Did they see that right? The principal, at his age, actually bowed to this boy. He must have some special identity. No wonder he could walk right into our campus. Look at the treatment he's getting. Amidst the chatter, Chu Kingxiu remained motionless, overwhelmed by disbelief. Another student exclaimed. Who was it earlier that said he was just Chu Pingtu's ex or another pursuer? Impossible. Even if she chased him herself, there's no way she could catch someone like him. And then a voice cut through the noise. Didn't you notice? This boy hasn't paid the slightest attention to the campus bell the whole time. Fang Yai was walking ahead with the military officers and the principal, who was explaining the incident to him. After the golden light at the academy's north gate dissipated, I thought the situation had almost ended. But then a few nights ago, one of the playgrounds suddenly caught fire, and not even the fire trucks could put it out. While narrating, he continued to lead Fang Yi somewhere. Fortunately, there were no students at night, and we quickly sealed off the scene. But after that, the second playground, the third playground, the one playground catching fire could still be explained. But when these strange phenomena kept happening one after another, I personally witnessed flames falling straight from the sky, scarlet fire floating in the air for no reason. Luckily, the flames on the other playgrounds have all been extinguished, but only this one. And then he brought him directly in front of a playground where an intense blaze was raging. Seeing this, Fang Yai thought in astonishment, the choking stench of burning, and then asked the principal, this basketball hoop, is this the initial point of the fire? The principal nodded and replied, that's right. Only here, the fire has never been extinguished. Just then, Jilan pulled out a device. Seeing this, Fang Yai asked her in surprise what it was. Jilan explained, a basic abnormal spiritual power detector. You can think of it that way. If the threshold exceeds 10, ordinary people must be kept away. Human life is very fragile. For ordinary people, anything above 10 means an unavoidable natural disaster. At that very moment, the device displayed the number 60. Seeing this, Jilan gasped in shock and said, this is too high, no good. The threshold is too high. If this continues unchecked, not only Kangshan University, but the entire city will be affected. We must immediately dispatch 3 Ghost X3 star soldiers and 7 Ghost X2 star soldiers to form an array and resist it. We need spiritual power of the purest kind, the most solid cultivation base. Just as Jilan was speaking, the principal's gaze fell on Fang Yai, who was already leaping over the chain-locked wall of the playground and heading straight toward the flames. Both of them shouted, "Advisor Fang," but by this time, Fang Yai was already surrounded by fire. He had entered straight into the inferno. Right then, Jilan's device spiked. The abnormal energy had risen from 60 to 110. Seeing this, Jilan shouted in alarm, it's rising again, 110. This threshold can already be classified as an level anomaly. He went in. What do we do now? She tried to step forward, but the flames suddenly flared violently, releasing an evil, energy-like aura that stopped her from advancing. Jilan stood there, horrified, thinking how could he dare to enter alone. Meanwhile, Fang Yai was steadily walking deeper into the blazing inferno, heading straight for the very center where the fire was erupting. Advancing forward, he thought to himself, last time, the Yang attribute shielded me from the lightning. Naturally, this heavenly fire can be blocked, too. But while it protects my body, I still can't touch the source flame, nor can I activate the technique. So I must first get as close to the source flame as possible. Just as he was reaching the very center, the fire transformed into the form of a dragon, and lunged at him. But Fang Yai immediately raised his hand and began resisting that energy. As he blocked it, his system suddenly detected the abnormal fluctuation and sent out a notification, detected intense skyfire attribute fluctuation. Seeing this, Fang Yai laughed and said, truly worthy of being skyfire, even more wantonly powerful than the desolate force of death. But no matter what, I must absorb you. Though his face showed clear signs of struggle at that very moment, another notification appeared before him. Ultimate calculation blade initializing. The compilation successful. The sight of this brought a smile to his face. Immediately after, another notification popped up. You have obtained the Skyfire attribute technique. 9 Dragons Skyfire sealing technique. 9 Dragons Skyfire, eradicate evil and seal all demons. Now Fang Yai had obtained the Skyfire attribute. As soon as he acquired it, he released his power into the skies. Right then, another notification appeared. The technique you compiled requires no study, already unlocked. Now Fang Yai had control over the Skyfire. Instantly, the attribute began to be extracted into his body. As the Skyfire attribute infused into him with the success notification, his body started to change. His eyes turned blood red, and a crimson mark appeared on his face. Immediately Fang Yai clapped both hands together and roared, 9 Dragons Skyfire sealing technique. At once, 9 chain-like constructs burst out from his back. The 9 chains shot forth directly, binding all the flames that had taken the shape of a dragon. The raging waves of fire that just moments ago were wreaking havoc all around were now ensnared within his chains. Even the principal and Jilan could see it from outside. Witnessing this, they instantly realized this was the breath of a seal. Jilan, stunned, exclaimed, "I once saw a high-level military pioneer seal a forbidden zone." His method was different from Fang Yi's, but the aura of sealing, it's almost identical. Meanwhile, Fang Yi tightened the chains further, compressing the abnormal fire. Slowly, all the blazing flames converged, shrinking into one. In no time, the raging inferno that had taken the form of a dragon condensed into a small cluster. Finally, Fang Yi grasped that small cluster of fire in his hand. After Fang Yi controlled the fire, the entire area fell into complete silence. The place that had been engulfed in raging flames just moments ago was now calm and normal. Immediately, the principal stepped forward to face him. Looking at the principal, Fang Yi said firmly, "I have temporarily sealed the skyfire here. Do not unseal this playground. Do not rebuild it, and do not allow anyone near it. This way, at least the skyfire will not spread any further." Hearing this, the principal replied respectfully, "Rest assured, the playground will not be unsealed. After all, the academy has more than just this one playground." Standing nearby, Jilan didn't say anything. She only kept looking at Fang Yi. The conversation between the hero and the principal continued. The hero said with a faint smile, "Pingxing is truly extravagant. 7 or 8 playgrounds in total." The principal chuckled and replied, "Advisor, you're truly humorous. If you ever need anything." Before he could finish, Jilan stepped in between them and said directly to the principal, "Principal, I still have something I want to say to Advisor Fang." The principal laughed and said, "No problem. I won't disturb you too. Please continue. I'll take my leave." Then, Jilan came closer to Fang Yi and said in a low but sharp voice, "Fang Yi, you've been hiding really deep." Hearing her, Fang Yi smiled lightly and replied, "Nothing much." The skyfire was indeed powerful, not easy to deal with. Jilan's expression turned serious as she said, "Stop pretending. You know I'm talking about you hiding your talent and your realm. Forget it. Every pioneer has their secrets, especially someone as strong as you, Fang Yi. I don't have the right to demand anything from you, but I hope you'll at least listen to what I'm about to say." Fang Yi smiled, listening quietly. At this critical time of great changes in the world, the Xia nation desperately needs top-tier talents like you, Junlan continued. "Let me put it this way, when spiritual energy fully revives, someone like you will be the equivalent of today's nuclear deterrence. So whether it's the military restricted zones or the spiritual energy association, everyone will fight to have you join them. It's even possible that foreign powers will extend invitations, offering generous terms. Of course, I won't deny I have my own considerations if you join the military. It would give our restricted zones more allies, and more paths forward. That's why I suggest you start thinking about it now so that when the time comes, you won't be caught off guard." Our hero, Fang Qiu, then asked curiously, "I'm very curious. Why is it that neither you nor Wang Liang tried to pull me into your restricted zones? Why did you even say I wasn't worthy?" Jianlan explained with a small sigh, "That's because there's a legendary military district. They're so powerful, it's almost monstrous. That's why I thought you'd be more interested in them." Hearing this, Fang Qiu smiled faintly and said, "So, there's a top level as well." Jianlan nodded. "Of course, though I haven't seen much of them myself. I've only heard they've been very busy recently." Hearing this, Fang Qiu thought silently. The most powerful military force than the Xia nation is so busy that even officers from other restricted zones are hearing whispers. That means they're facing significant troubles of their own. Meanwhile, Jianlan continued, "Nah, I won't say more. Come on. The principal said he wants to treat us to a meal at Qingqing University's cafeteria." As Fang Qiu listened, his thoughts grew heavier. It seems they too are facing no small problems. That can only mean there are anomalies out there of terrifying power, far beyond the current strength of pioneers. From Jianlan's tone, there are definitely pioneers with the same spirit creation realm as me. Perhaps even stronger. The day of spiritual energy revival is drawing closer and closer. My preparations still don't feel sufficient. The sapphire attribute I just collected on the playground. How can I maximize its use? He contemplated deeply. Sapphire. Chaotic, unrestrained, burning wildly like endless wildfire. It's the perfect match for dealing with those endlessly proliferating anomalies. Yes, this is exactly what fits with my Crimson Flame Blade technique. Enchantments that enhance my techniques when it comes to them. The more the better. Fang Qiu was moving toward the mountain, holding his massive sword in his hand. He stood behind the peak where the signboard said, "Dangerous mountain beyond this point is extremely dangerous. Do not proceed further." Seeing this, he thought to himself, the back mountain shows no abnormal activity, yet it's been blocked off. But the military shouldn't have received the news this fast. Only someone who knows I train and experiment here would do this. The only ones who know my routine are the Spirit Association. He then wondered about accepting this offer. Did they give me this land to experiment freely? If that's the case, I might as well accept it. But suddenly he became alert. He felt something behind him and thought again. Wait a second. Even trash has snuck into the back mountain. This aura. It's identical to the one I encountered at the factory. Just not as intense. At this moment there was a monkey-like monster sitting on a tree. Seeing it, Fang Qiu began channeling his fire energy into his sword. So now it's capable of assessing enemy strength before attacking. Then watch closely. Just then, a system notification appeared before him. Heavenly Fire, also known as Upper Flame, is of the light attribute. Strong and righteous, it is used to slay the wicked. Do you wish to infuse the Heavenly Fire attribute into the Tang blade? There were two options, yes and no. Fang Qiu chose yes instantly. The Heavenly Fire burns eternally, unquenchable. He became ready for attack. As soon as it activated, his eyes were covered with flames. Looking at the massive monster, he smiled and, while launching his attack, shouted, "Let's try this sword on you." As his sword strike launched, two fire dragons were created from the flames. Both dragons charged straight at the monkey-like monster. Seeing the attack coming at him, the monkey monster barely managed to save its life, and fled by leaping across the trees. Because of Fang Qiu's attack, the area had been set ablaze. Looking at it, he smiled and said, "Excellent. This firepower is twice as strong. No, even stronger than the original Crimson Fire Blade technique. Moreover, this energy has no effect on me personally." He touched his sword and continued forward, noticing how extremely cold it was around him. Not finding any other monsters nearby, he decided to chase the one that had escaped. Where did that trash run off to? Let's hunt it down first. Meanwhile on the mountain, a girl was live streaming. She was talking to her audience. "Guys, I swear I'm not a scammer. I've always been super lucky since I was a kid, okay? Even though this is my first day live streaming, content just comes looking for me." While she was chatting with her audience, that same monkey monster appeared and attacked her from behind. Her phone fell to the ground and she was caught in the monster's clutches. However, the live stream was still running. Everything was being recorded. The audience began commenting, "Streamer, what happened? Saw a ghost." Another message popped up. "Damn, the acting started so abruptly and the effects are so fake." Everyone thought it was just special effects. But the girl, trapped in the monster's grasp, had tears in her eyes. Her heart was filled with fear, certain she wouldn't survive. Just before the monster could attack her, fire dragons suddenly appeared from behind, rushing straight at it. Seeing them, the monkey monster released the girl and began running away. The audience still watching the live stream started commenting again. "What is this? Is that a fire dragon?" Another wrote, "Whoa, this special effect is amazing." Meanwhile, the girl's live stream views continued to skyrocket. Quickly she stood up, grabbed her phone, and pointed it toward the fire. She wanted to capture this moment on camera, because within the blazing flames, she could see a figure. To her, it looked as if some deity or immortal had descended to save people. Inside the roaring fire stood our hero, and his image was now streaming live across the world. People in the chat exploded with comments. "Blade lunge, starlight cuts through the fire, cleaves the heavens." Another wrote, "An immortal descends to save the world. Fire. That's nothing." A third added, "That mysterious man who cleaved the king of flames created such fire with a single blade the forest itself is burning." The live stream video shot straight to rank 1 on trending, with views skyrocketing beyond measure. The story now shifts to Qiu, who was with her bespectacled friend. Her friend, staring at her laptop, suddenly called out in excitement, "Qiu, come quick. An immortal really descended to save people. There really are cultivation experts, and the heavenly fire is real." Without even looking, Qiu brushed her off, replying coldly, "Don't believe that stuff. It's all staged with special effects online." But as soon as her eyes glanced at the laptop screen, she froze in shock. She instantly recognized the figure. It was Fang Qiu. Her bespectacled friend, however, still hadn't recognized him. She excitedly told Qiu, "See, I told you it was real, so cool." Qiu, trying to hide her recognition, insisted, "This video is absolutely fake. All special effects." Yet, Deep down, her face grew tense with fear as she thought to herself, no way. That absolutely cannot be him. It just resembles him a little. If it really were him, he would have been burnt to ashes by now. If it is him, will he take this chance to get back at me? Damn it, I'll never bow my head. From there, the story shifts again, this time to the 81-year-old sultry woman and Lin Maoi. They too were watching the live stream. The sultry woman turned to Lin Maoi and asked, Maoi, doesn't he look familiar? Like the pioneer who rescued us from the vines. Lin Maoi, her eyes narrowing, replied seriously, I think so, too. And I recently learned that a top-level expert who broke through to the spirit creation realm lives near my home. Could they be the same person? The live stream was playing everywhere. In another scene, a young girl turned to the boy beside her and said, Old Liu, do you think he's Fang? He looked even stronger now. The boy nodded with awe, replying, damn, that blade swing is exactly the same. We really did latch onto a big shot. The narrative then shifts directly to the association where numerous seniors were gathered, discussing matters with grave expressions. One senior remarked, the city's crisis is creeping closer and our pioneers are in short supply. Many shared their opinions, until another senior added, I heard the military has had in-depth talks with Fang Qiu. Hearing this, Xu Ying immediately spoke with conviction. I trust him. He will definitely help us. Nearby, Hyunlan sat in her chair, murmuring with both awe and disbelief. The rise to the spirit creation realm in such a short time. What kind of monster is this? Even anomalies tremble at the sight of him, and just how many high-level attributes does he possess? Sitting at the main seat, Han leaned forward and responded firmly. 3, maybe even more than 3. With such overwhelming potential, our threats are nothing but clown antics. Recruiting him is the only way. Hyunlan immediately asked, you mean the higher-ups have decided to approach him personally? Han nodded slightly, but added with cold logic, yes, but it seems they're not quite ready to lower themselves to reach out to Fang Qiu yet. After all, the top pioneers before him all emerged from within the military. Rising from his table, he continued speaking as he walked away. Let's see what Fang Qiu still lacks. New weapon prototypes, suitable training environments, these can all be sent to him. Also, the live stream and all shared videos need to be handled. Hearing this, Xu Ying thought to herself, the entire spirit key circle of the Xia nation is already focused on him. And Jian Lan, too, was lost in thought. That kid. He really makes you look forward to what he'll do next. The story then shifts once more, this time to a hospital where a badly injured man lay in bed. Beside him sat a girl who softly whispered to him, Teacher, it seems the Xia nation has a new hope. With someone this powerful emerging, your chances of waking up have improved again. One day passes. Our hero sits inside his building having breakfast, his mind still occupied with everything that had happened. That massive stir from yesterday. Who would have thought a streamer would sneak into the back mountain just to go live? All for clout. What guts. But now the video has completely vanished from the entire internet. The stream has also been shut down. Probably the work of the military, or the Spirit Kai Association. As he thinks this, he glances toward the door, and mutters softly, wait, Lin Maoi didn't come back all night. She didn't even send me a message. What's going on? Even if it was a mission. He quickly picks up his phone and tries to call her. But when the call doesn't go through, his face grows serious. Something feels off. That girl wouldn't be this unreliable. Her number couldn't be connected. It was outside the service area. This made him uneasy, and with a grim expression, he muttered, this is bad. I need to find her as soon as possible. The story then shifts to the 81-year-old sultry woman and Lin Maoi. The two of them are trapped deep in the forest, both injured and exhausted. Trembling, Maoi asks, 81, how long have we been trapped here? Can you estimate it? Hearing this, the sultry woman responds, about 10 hours. I've lost track. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. At first, I thought it was just an ordinary shadow wraith. Both of them were bleeding, their strength almost depleted. But Maoi shakes her head and says firmly, all right, no more apologies. In the end, I am still not strong enough. Remember, stay alert. Conserve your energy. Her mind flashes back to the memory of our hero's power. She remembered walking down the street that day, looking up into the sky, and witnessing his breathtaking breakthrough. That image burned itself into her heart, and she thought, if only I were as powerful as that great expert. But before she could finish that thought, danger crept in from behind. A monster had silently appeared, its presence looming just a step away, ready to launch its attack. Yet, both Maui and the sultry woman were still completely unaware of the imminent threat closing in. Suddenly, a monster appeared behind Lin Maui and the 81-year-old sultry woman. The moment it saw them, it raised its claws to attack. However, both of them sensed it immediately, and as soon as they turned back, they saw that the monster was ready to strike. Lin Maui quickly used her skill and shouted at the 81-year-old sultry woman to be careful, because out of the two, the 81-year-old sultry woman was the one who was most injured. A laser-type attack shot out from Lin Maui's hands, clashing with the monster and cutting through. One of the monster's heads was severed by her strike. But this monster had many heads, its entire body was covered with them. It was like many monsters fused into one. Because of the attack, the monster fell to the ground. Seeing this, the 81-year-old sultry woman trembled with fear, and asked Lin Maui, "Are these the people who got trapped here and died?" Hearing her words, Lin Maui's face turned serious as she replied, "Now they have become those abnormal walking corpses. It's playing with us, and it wants to drag us down, too." Staring at the severed head, the 81-year-old sultry woman also grew serious and said, "Not only are our attacks completely useless against this black fog, but our spiritual energy is also being rapidly consumed. We don't even know where that abnormality truly is. It feels like it's just waiting for us to exhaust all of our energy, and then it's toying with us like we're rats." All around them was a black-colored fog that surrounded and trapped them. Because of this fog, they couldn't see the monster clearly, which made it appear invincible. Both of them grew tense, wondering how they could possibly defeat such a creature. Just then, a red, circle-shaped eye appeared before them. That eye immediately began releasing bubbles that looked like blood. As the bubbles spread, countless small, liquid-like objects resembling tiny eyes began to form in the air. Attacking them in rage, the 81-year-old sultry woman screamed, "Go to hell, damn creature." Seeing the 81-year-old sultry woman like this, Lin Maui shouted, "It's losing its patience now. Don't get careless." But the moment she said that, a gigantic eye appeared behind Lin Maui within the fog. Suddenly, Lin Maui felt countless eyes staring at her. Hallucinations consumed her mind, and she began to lose control. A terrifying feeling overwhelmed her as if her death was inevitable. From within the fog, countless hands reached out, grabbing at her, pulling her down into the darkness. Inside her mind, Lin Maui thought, "Am I going to die? I can't hear 81's voice anymore. Well, of course, we've all been swallowed by the darkness. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so reckless, overconfident, thinking the two of us alone could complete this mission. Forget it. The path of cultivation was always filled with danger. I had always known one day I might disappear in some nameless corner. Still, I wonder what the world will be like then. What role will those hidden pioneers play upon this earth? The magnificent waves of spiritual revival. I suppose I'll never see them again." Slowly, her eyes began to close. She tried raising her hand, but she was unable to do anything. Suddenly, lightning struck through the darkness, tearing apart the fog with its dazzling power. From within the lightning, our hero emerged, smiling as he looked at Lin Maui. "You almost slipped right out of my hands," he said with a laugh. Seeing him there, Lin Maui was stunned. At this moment, our hero was already extremely close to her. As he stepped forward, he struck the ground with his lightning-charged hand. A devastating surge of lightning exploded out, instantly destroying all the fog around them in one strike. Lin Maui stared at him in shock. "It's my cousin. He saved me. This isn't an ordinary person." But just as she thought that, the monstrous creature with countless eyes and dark energy appeared again, charging to attack our hero. Seeing this, Lin Maui panicked and cried out, "Be careful, the abnormal's true body is on your right rear side." But our hero only chuckled, drawing a sword. "Perfect. Let me test how this heavenly fire works against darkness." With a swing, he unleashed a flame attack that formed into a mighty dragon. The blazing dragon struck the dark creature, burning it immediately. Flames erupted all around, burning away the black fog until it was completely gone. The 81-year-old sultry woman, who had fallen unconscious, slowly woke up. Looking at Lin Maui, she weakly asked, "Maui, are we already dead?" But then her eyes widened at the sea of fire surrounding them. Panicking, she shouted, "Holy crap! What is this inferno? Did we fall into hell with the abnormal?" Seeing her in such a state, Lin Maui told her, "Calm down. Look closely. We're still alive." Hearing that, the 81-year-old sultry woman's expression brightened with joy. We're still alive." But then her gaze landed on our hero. Looking at him closely, she asked, "Who are you?" Smiling, Our hero replied casually, all settled. Finally. And I haven't even had breakfast yet. Itsu. The 81-year-old sultry woman's eyes widened in realization. She stepped closer to him, her voice trembling with excitement. It's you, isn't it? Back in Yongkuo town, at the place of the death vines, it was you who saved us. Hearing this, our hero smiled. Am I really that easy to recognize? Just then, Lin Maoi stepped closer and asked in surprise. Wait a second. You're saying the powerful fire attribute master who saved us before is actually my cousin? The 81-year-old sultry woman's jaw dropped. Oh my god. That super expert is your cousin. Didn't you always say your cousin was very ordinary? Listening to them, our hero just rubbed his forehead helplessly. Then the 81-year-old sultry woman turned to Lin Maoi and exclaimed, This is the man who with a single strike cut through the wasteland, forced the mighty Uncle Go stacks 3 stars to his knees, and even caught Sister Jianlan's attention, our savior. Hearing all this, Lin Maoi's thoughts raced. So cousin is actually that high-level fire attribute expert. But just now, he clearly used an incredibly pure lightning attribute to destroy the black fog. 1 strike of lightning. 1 strike of fire. Both far beyond my capabilities. Could it be? He's a super genius with dual high-level attributes. Wait, could the great master who broke through to the spirit creation realm in our district be? Thousand. Our hero then looked at the two of them and said, Alright, it's over now. I have something to ask you. You both know that a dark attribute abnormal can't be treated like a regular one, right? Then why did only the two of you come here? Where are your teammates? The 81-year-old sultry woman began explaining. Well, Wu Mao seems to have fallen seriously ill. He used to hide missions from his family, but now they've locked him in, so of course he couldn't come. Uncle probably had some other even harder mission. And as for the rest of the team, we don't always gather together. Lin Maoi added, Yes, this time it was my mistake. I thought since I'd broken through to Go stacks 3 stars, there wouldn't be a problem. Hearing them, our hero grew thoughtful. Now I remember these teammates each have their own priorities. It looks like this little team won't last for long. Then he looked at Lin Maoi and said, 81, back then you weren't satisfied with your teammates, but now in front of outsiders, you're defending their reputation. You've got loyalty. My cousin has always been smart. I guess she's already sensed what's coming. After a pause he said, Cousin, since you and your friend already know who I am, and since I trust you both, how about we form a team together? But this must remain a secret. Don't tell anyone. The 81-year-old sultry woman's face lit up with joy. Really? We can? Yes, of course. My lips are sealed. I really owe this luck to Maoi. Looking at him, Lin Maoi's heart warmed. Peace. To have such a powerful pioneer as my cousin silently protecting me all this time. But on this lonely road of cultivation, having a reliable family member to accompany and support me without hesitation. It's such a blessing. With a smile, she said, Alright then. Thank you, cousin. Tonight, I'll cook 2 extra dishes just for you. As they spoke, Lin Maoi's phone buzzed with a message. She showed it to them, saying, Sister Jianlan just messaged me. The message read, Extreme Dark Zone mission notification. Head to the Extreme Dark Zone and collect the required items. This mission is related to the dark attribute. Think carefully before applying. Seeing this, our hero asked, It's related to the dark attribute. This Extreme Dark Zone, do you know about it? Lin Maoi explained, Yes, the Extreme Dark Zone lies within the forbidden dark attribute borderlands of the Xin Nation. The dark attribute there is extremely strong. Pioneers usually avoid it, taking to tours. Most of the abnormalities in our city are seeping out from that place. The government itself has never fully explored it, and there have been very serious accidents there before. Hearing this, our hero's expression turned gray. I see. Then we should at least try. Can you ask her what the specific mission requires? Will she reply? The 81-year-old sultry woman quickly said, No way. Sister Jianlan is very mysterious. She never says more than a few words. But at that moment, Jianlan actually sent another reply. This mission's objective is to collect the withered bloom flower. Reminder, the reward this time is greater than usual, but the extreme dark zone is filled with dark attributes. The abnormalities there are far more dangerous than what you've faced before. So please form a team before going. The 81-year-old sultry woman's eyes widened. What the? Sister Jianlan. She actually replied so thoroughly. Then more messages came. This mission may involve class abnormal. The death rate is extremely high. Think carefully before deciding. Only register if you have strong and reliable pioneers to form a team with. The story shifted briefly to Jian Lan herself. She was tabbing the messages while walking alongside military personnel. As she typed, she murmured, "That's enough. Let's see whether he chooses to go or not." Meanwhile, our hero raised an eyebrow at the message. Huh. If you have strong and reliable pioneers. That's pretty direct. It's almost like she's saying, I know you. I know someone like you would be interested. Do you dare to come? Turning to Lin Maoi, he laughed. Kazan looks like she's pointing straight at me. Then with a spark in his eyes, he said, interesting. This extreme dark zone. I definitely want to take a trip there.